All right. Okay. Uh. Hi. Welcome to the small world of Jay, and we're just gonna be relaxing right now. Okay, and I kind of want to watch stuff, so we're gonna be doing that right now. uh. Okay. All right. How's everyone? Ego, how was your morning? Akane, how was your morning? I'm in the mood for miso soup. Oh my god, why did I have an early lunch? Sorry, an early breakfast. Now I'm getting hungry again. uh, but yeah. All right. Okay. Okay. All right. Let's. I just want to watch something. Okay. Ew. I saw this video. It's called Overwatch 3. Quote unquote. It's a Marvel Rivals. It's carbot animations.
The battle starts in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Feeling super, thanks.
Yeah, Jeff doesn't die sometimes.
Better step on it if we're
My name's Jeff.
Okay. Okay.
I am Groot. I am Groot.
What are you doing? Oh, we're just checking out the new character. She's so cool.
Yeah, it's very OP.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, accurate to Marvel Rivals, I suppose. Uh, okay, let's see if there's anything else here. Maybe I want to check out. Um, but yeah, I can't. Oh, let's watch. I want to check out some indie games. Maybe
Hello
with
Nick
some.
fans, it's another jam-packed week of new releases with action platformers, a cool looking Souls-like and more, so let's begin with Wendigo Blue, a game
Oh, actually, I just realized I haven't. I need to. I forgot to fix my chat. Sorry about that. Pop out chat. Copy, restore chat. Uh, custom browser docs. There we go. There we go. We should be able to see.
that seems to have had quite a short announcement cycle, which is
All
not
right.
ideal for indie games, first creating their Steam page in December 2024 and is already releasing, which is not enough time and momentum in my opinion. But this beat 'em up comes to us from the developer of Zelda's Story, Abyssal City, and
What
Fae
is that? I
Tactics,
haven't-
so I
okay.
wanted to help them along since
Maybe
it looks
too much-
neat, along with
um,
the sci-fi action platformer
My big issues with beat 'em up sometimes when there's so much happening, you can't even tell what's happening. Like too much animations here and there.
with Metroidvania elements, Re-Setna as well, since it is set
Okay.
in a post-apocalyptic world where organic life has vanished and robots have taken over. As the mysterious signal causes the other robots to become hostile, our combat-ready robot protagonist and her drone companion must uncover the truth behind this disturbance and eliminate the signal's influence, having to eventually reset the world. It is supposed to have 20 plus hours of gameplay, with interesting exploration filled with secrets, challenging combat, and lore about this world, which seems interesting. There is a customizable chip upgrade system for the main
Rhythmna.
character, which allows you to
So it's like a
customize your
Metroidvania,
abilities
or
to
just a
your
platformer,
playstyle,
okay.
with the drone supporting in terms of healing, scanning, and other functions, with the giant mechanical bosses in this game looking pretty epic and should be good. Love indie games? Sign up to my newsletter to get a weekly dose of what's hot, along with some news and of course, weekly
Okay.
game giveaways, so if interested, link is in the description below.
Maybe I
Strands
should.
is a third-person
Eternal
action-adventure RPG with an elemental twist in which you play as a young weaver having the grand ambition to recover her people's cultural home, and armed with magical abilities and weapons, she has to face a diverse range of enemies, from
Okay.
humanoid constructs to towering beasts in order to do so. The reactive environment and the elemental effects are the most intriguing part, since they give examples like turning a dragon's fiery breath against ice-covered enemies for extra damage, or snapping nearby trees to create a wall to block enemy fire, or even to rip out a section of stone wall to throw at your enemies. You will be able to climb
Tears of the
every
Kingdom,
surface,
basically.
so I hope it is not janky, as well as to use your magic to create new paths for exploration, like a bridge made of ice, where my question with regards to this is whether the environment and level will naturally recover back to its original state, or will your destruction and change to the world be permanent, since in the latter case,
Yes.
that could result in some issues if you somehow destroy the world to an extent where you cannot progress any further. Technically, this is an independent studio, but it is headed up by the ex-creative
Colonel
director
Strands.
on the Dragon Age series and has opened 2 studio locations, and while they did not comment on external
looks
funding
interesting
or
though.
raising money, I'm pretty sure that they have some financial backing, otherwise they would not be able to sustain a team of over 60 without even releasing a game, so this comes with an asterisk, which is not the case with Fly Knight, since I
Fly
believe
Knight.
this comes to us from a solo developer out of Spain,
Okay.
and was pointed out to me by BruceWish7137, so thank you for that, being a first-person Souls-like dungeon crawler, complete
Okay.
with a stamina system. This just
It's
looks
more
cool
like,
with its intentionally limited frame rate
yeah,
animation,
Kingsfield
as
kind
well
of
as
thing.
the insect theme, in which you play as a squire of the Flying Knights, embarking on
Okay.
a perilous quest to vanquish the evil witch Luna Moth and to break her curse, which has prevented the inhabitants of the realm from growing wings. This is also cleverly woven into the story setup itself, since otherwise wouldn't the bugs
Okay.
just be flying around? So the fact that the developer bothered to explain is impressive in itself. There is co-op for up to 4 players, with the deliberate stamina-based combat being front and center, in which you have access to a variety of weapons as well as magical spells. There is
Also
a
kind of reminds
link-based
me of
combat
Ocarina of
system,
Time.
so you can take out an enemy's arm to stop them from attacking, or to crush their heads with a mighty 2-handed weapon, or to use magic or arrows depending on the situation. There's plenty of loot and equipment, as well as, interestingly enough, a fishing system where the best games do have them, but switching gears, a game which
Oh,
even
what's this?
I am unsure of how to classify is Hearts of the Machine, since
Hearts
it
of the
self-describes
Machine.
as a strategy RPG set in a cyberpunk city, in
Wait,
which
wait,
you play as a
it
sentient
kind
AI
of
with
reminds
the
me of
city as your
Metal Gear
sandbox.
Rex in
The
Metal Gear
marketing
Solid.
around this game on social media says that instead of worrying about Skynet, why don't you become Skynet instead? But
Yeah,
I'm very
okay.
confused as to what this game is, since the gameplay trailer shows off choose your own adventure style decision making,
Yeah,
and
kinda.
almost XCOM-like turn-based tactics combat system, character customization in terms of skills and abilities for every android under your control, resource management, a city building aspect where you are building drone factories and aircraft hangars, ship-to-ship combat, ship-to-land combat, the ability to negotiate and extract information from criminals, a hacking system, giant mechs, and so much more. Additionally, you can choose how you want to play as the AI, whether you are the
Okay.
benevolent kind and try to raise up the downtrodden, or if you're a dictator and try to exploit them even more for your own goals. The city is procedurally generated, with apparently tens of thousands of buildings and millions of citizens, with talk also of your actions rippling across timelines, where actions in one playthrough will have unintended consequences in another, also having multiple
All right,
endings
wait,
and
hold
side
on.
stories.
I'll fix
and
my mic
offers something
while
very
that
interesting
video
for
is playing.
strategy game fans. It is not often that I get stumped when talking about genres, so that alone makes it off note, since it is really trying to do a lot. Other games begins with Ascendant, an action roguelite dungeon crawler with heavy roguelike elements in which you have to defeat legendary abominations. It doesn't seem to be doing anything too crazy or innovative, but playing as a wizard seems neat, having 800 plus abilities and items to discover, as well as a great pixel art look, where you could do
Hold on. I reset my mic. Let me just test it out. I just want to see if my mic will improve. Just a minute. Mic test. Mic test. Hello. Hi. Hey. Mic test. Yeah, it's still micing. Okay, I wonder what's causing it. Wonder what's causing it. All right. Okay. Sometimes it happens to this mic and it's kind of frustrating. Anyway,
much worse than this if you were looking for a game in this genre, and for something different, a fun-looking co-op platformer is Brave Escape, in which
Okay.
you and a friend must work together to navigate through hundreds of perilous levels. You play as Colin and Floyd, a human
yeah, I've
and
seen
robot
about this, the
duo
two-player
who
kinda
must
thing.
communicate and time their jumps, abilities, and more if they want to successfully make their way through the levels, gathering collectibles and uncovering secrets along the way. The basic abilities are a boost to give the other player extra jump height, along with a climbing rope which can be thrown down, but that also varies based on biome and can include a wind gun, freeze gun, and more. The pixel art is well done, and there really is quite the amount of biome variety, each with unique hazards and traps, looking like fun with a friend, but do note that this is multiplayer only and you will need another human player, where going back to roguelites, Cryptical Path caught my eye, since this is the first self-styled roguelite builder playing like an action platformer, but critically you are controlling something known as the Architect, a character who forged and created the Hexium, a prison meant to contain malevolent souls, and gives you
Okay.
back control of the procedural generation of the world, since you can build and influence the layout of the dungeon itself. Yes, indeed, you can select and place down rooms, which will then affect the next room which you move into, adding a layer of strategy on top of the pure randomness and luck of the role in other games in this genre, giving you just enough control to perhaps make it feel more fair rather than randomly getting screwed over. However, in roguelite fashion, defeat means having to restart a run,
Critical
but
Path,
there is
Brave
meta
Escape.
progression in the form of talents which can be upgraded.
So
having
far, I haven't
good-looking
really seen a
combat and
game
great
where
visual style
it kind
as
of
well,
blows
and
my
is
mind,
the
kind
hidden
of
gem
thing.
of the week. And it's a good week for roguelites, since we also
Oh,
have the
this looks
console ports
smooth.
of Cuisinier
This looks
coming to
smooth.
us from Singaporean developer Battle Brew Productions, so a special shout out goes to them, where this released on Steam in November 2023 and is great, so console players, now's your chance. This resembles Moonlighter insofar as the dungeons are procedurally generated, where you are fighting food-themed enemies to get ingredients and then return to your town and restaurant to cook and serve food, having to pay off a large debt as the main narrative driver, and is an adorable and fantastic game, the opposite of which in terms of vibes is Darkest Dungeon 2 Inhuman
Wait,
Bondage.
what the hell's
a paid
this?
DLC which adds a new
Oh, it's a
mini region in
DLC.
the Catacombs, a new slime-sodden enemy faction, and the return of the Abomination character, having a very interesting risk-reward system as he can transform into a powerful beast but at the cost of insane stress. Where Red Hook Studios did get bought by Behavior Interactive, the Dead by
Okay.
Daylight people, so technically it is not indie anymore, so let me know in the comments whether or not I should still cover their future games, with another horror title of interest being Headliners, a co-op
Headliners.
horror game which is a genre that has exploded in popularity, no doubt due to the popularity of games like Lethal Company and Phasmophobia. And while they
Okay.
do generally have a horror theme, they might end up being comedic instead, since you are messing around with your friends. You play as journalists in a city overrun with monsters, hoping to snap some sick photos
Okay.
to make the headlines while not getting killed yourself. The progression system in
What?
this game
Okay.
appears to be to
Honestly,
earn
I don't-
money to
I don't-
continue the expedition.
I'm not really
possibly use
into
to
these
buy
kinds of
tools
games,
and
not so
upgrades,
much,
but it
really.
seems kind of insane as a concept. If
I feel like a lot of them are
monsters
just
were
content
to
farms,
invade in real
which is
life,
necessarily a
still,
bad
it
thing,
could be
right?
huge, with another big
But-
release of note being Kingdom Rush 5 Alliance TD Colossal Dwarfare, the latest campaign addition to a title from 2024, which has almost 7,000 Steam reviews as of recording, coming to us from the tower defense developer Ironhide Game Studio. This adds a new dwarf campaign comprising of 5 new
Hola,
stages, 12
Gladys,
new
what's
enemies,
up?
2 mini bosses, and 3 epic bosses,
How
along
are
with a
you?
new tower, a new hero, and more, where the developers have released 2 free mini campaigns in October and December 2024, with at least one more to come. But this particular entry will be paid and should be of interest to fans of the genre, but do look at the price, with a
How are
very
you,
different
Gladys?
kind of game being Kiosk, a first-person horror simulation
Kiosk.
cooking game in which you're preparing
horror
orders
cooking
for
game?
late-night customers. This game definitely gave me deja vu, since I remember covering
Eating lunch.
Post-True
What was
back
for
in
lunch?
October 2024, a similar kind of title in which you are running a toast shop in central Anatolia, Turkey instead, with strange events unfolding, with both of these sharing
It's
that
VR, I'm
low-fidelity
guessing.
3D look with creepy-looking polygonal models for the characters. The central mystery
Okay,
here
bacon.
revolves around what happened to your predecessor before you took up the job, having to listen to the clues from the customers and to piece together the mystery, and looks pretty spooky, as does Little Lighthouse of Horror, a
Little
game which
Lighthouse
I
of
just covered
Horror.
recently in my Best New Trailers series, but did not
Okay.
realize that it was releasing so soon, being a psychological horror game that plunges
Bacon.
you into the eerie world of the Flennon Owls. As the lighthouse keeper, you must maintain the light while confronting your own growing unease and unexplained phenomena occurring at the lighthouse, which threatens to consume your own sanity. Your survival depends on balancing your mental and physical health as you navigate the fine line between duty
Okay.
and madness, having to manage tangible resources like food and fuel, but also a sanity system and multiple endings, with it being based on a real-life mystery, so there's more to this game than meets the eye, and don't think that pixel art cannot be scary since it is well done here, with Polaris having a very different art style and it's a different kind of game as well.
What
This
is
is
this?
a sci-fi co-op shooter looking like Fortnite or some sort of battle royale game in terms of visuals and camera
Oh,
angle,
okay.
but takes the unique twist of being a PvE title, being a
PvE.
third-person shooter with the ability to hop into a plane to blow up enemy ships and vehicles. The visual style of this does remind me of Spectre Divide, but of course
Ah,
it's a
okay,
very
this
different
seems
kind of game,
interesting.
with one of the developers listed being Variable State, having the most random of backgrounds, having just made narrative and adventure games in the past such as Last Stop from 2021 and Virginia from 2016, which seem to have nothing in common with their current project, so who knows how this is being sustained, where on the other hand, we have the console ports of Robo Beat, a rhythm roguelite
Robo
first-person
Beat.
shooter that did well on Steam, with 1,300 Steam reviews and an overwhelmingly positive rating as of
It's a
recording,
rhythm game,
so console
okay.
ports make
Okay.
sense, being a good
Okay.
entry in this space with the likes of BPM Bullets Per Minute and Metal Hellsinger but with a different theme and setting, with another title being carried by its setting being SCP Fragmented Minds, a
SCP,
first-person survival horror title set in Mars Site-113, an SCP Foundation facility that housed a bunch of dangerous anomalies who apparently are now free to roam. So you need to hack, weld, and parkour your way through, scavenging for resources and improvising solutions to deadly threats. It looks nice and modern, although I myself am not familiar with this developer, but do note that it will be an early access release with just chapter 1 this
Okay.
week, with more chapters and interestingly, a 4v2 asymmetric PvP mode to be added, where if I were you, I'll be on the conservative side and wait for the update to actually be released before buying
Whoa,
this
that's
game, with
interesting.
another early access title of note being Space Engineers 2, the follow-up to a game from 2019, which has an
Okay.
astounding 95,000 Steam reviews, having new, modern-looking visuals and the same kind of sandbox building systems that the original was known for. This mixes exploration, construction, and survival in the vastness of space, where you play as a pioneer in the distant Almagest system, building everything from starships to space stations as you craft your own intricate builds with advanced controls and mobility, giving you even more options.
Whoa.
This is running on a new custom engine and takes 10 years of Space Engineers experience into account, where if you're a fan of the original, this is a no-brainer, but if you're not, this might be a good jumping point to join in, with, I'm sure, the developers having the financial muscle to tough out, fix, and add new content through the early access
Hey,
period. And
Kendra,
speaking
what's
of
up?
developers with a pedigree, we also have the release of The Stone of Madness, a title that comes to us from developer The Game Kitchen, best known for the
Alright.
Metroidvania Blasphemous.
Yeah, I kind of want to
so
get
this
this.
is
I'm really
quite the
tempted to buy
departure,
this game
being
because
a
it looks
real-time tactical stealth
Yeah,
game
I mean, it's
set
out
in an
already.
18th century Spanish monastery,
But yeah, I
where
have to wait
5
for
prisoners
funds.
with unique skills and abilities must work together to escape their confinement. Yep, not exactly the same thing, although there is a similar theme around religion and the setting, since this is a Spanish theme after all, with the gameplay
Alright.
resembling something like Shadow Tactics Blades of the Shogun, since
Has
you can
anyone
alternate
came?
control of each character using their
Yeah,
upgradable
people have
skills
come.
to
Remember,
cast
I'm not
spells,
just streaming on
assassinate
YouTube.
targets, and explore
I'm streaming on
hard-to-reach
multiple
areas,
platforms.
but has a
So,
phobia
been in
and
the Twitch
trauma
chat
system that you need
and
to be wary
earlier
of,
as well on
since
TikTok.
these negatively
But
affects
in terms
their
of
mental health
YouTube,
and
no, yeah.
effectiveness.
But which
Time flows
I normally
continuously,
expect because
and time of day matters since it affects
I know I don't regularly stream on YouTube. I'm trying to, so I don't expect a lot of people to come in here. But yeah, Twitch generally, which I'm currently streaming out right now. Yeah, I tend to have a lot of yeah people come in once in a while. Anyway, hey Kendra, what's up? What's up? What's up?
factors like guard behaviors, for example, and has an interesting look. But flipping
Yeah,
over
we're just
to the
we're just
turn-based
chilling.
side
I'm
of
watching
things
some
is
videos.
Those Who
Then maybe
Rule,
play a game
the
later.
which I did cover in my
Okay.
upcoming tactical games
Those Who
video,
Rule, yeah,
looking like a classically designed one of these that uses a hex
Yeah,
grid.
I'm not
It
interested
follows
in this
3
one.
as is the case with Tiny
Tiny
Kingdom as
Kingdom,
well.
nah.
A minimalist city awesome with a very different but
What's
equally
this?
great looking game being Whispers of the Eyeless,
Yeah,
a dark
it's
fantasy strategy
looks
RPG
like Darkest
where
Dungeon.
your decisions shape the fractured city of Ironthor, infiltrate its districts, command divine power, and grow a cult to restore the dead gods. This mixes several gameplay
because-
elements together, the first
Yeah, it looks
being
too much like
turn-based
Darkest
combat
Dungeon.
resembling a JRPG which rewards foresight and precision, where overcoming enemies aids in your infiltration of the city as you manipulate
Ahem.
the city itself and start
Yeah,
a cult
but feel
in
free
the
to ask
name
stuff,
of the dead
Kendra, if you want.
gods. There's a
I
cult
like
management
jabbing at these
layer
things.
in which you can recruit disciples, train them, and send them on missions, a base building element where you upgrade the cult facilities itself, and a
Uh,
choose your own adventure kind of system to dedicate your cult to wrath, madness, or desire, having a Darkest Dungeon inspired art style and looks cool. This one's for
I'm a small streamer, right, Kendra? So typically I don't get a lot. I average around 10 viewers. Yeah, all in all, more or less. Tiny, tiny, very, very humble, small world. Ah,
indie game developers. The free indie game marketing resources are ready.
So, but yeah, I'm in the process of trying to grow my stream. No, white light, no. So I'm still growing. I'm still grinding. I'm still trying to get better, kind of thing. I try to come up with YouTube videos as well, but here and there, and I do cooking streams. But yeah, I'm experimenting. I'm trying out things. Yada yada. I play indie games
So
mostly.
sign up via the link in the description below to get it in your mailbox.
Oh, thank you,
Co-Ridden
Kendra.
is an isometric action
Co-Ridden.
RPG with loot
What's this?
that has the main gimmick of allowing you to seamlessly shapeshift between human and beast forms. Embark on
Okay.
a solo or cooperative journey with up to 3 companions to unravel the dark secrets hidden within the legendary city of Ashar.
Okay.
And as is genre tradition, you develop your powers by acquiring new equipment and mastering skills for both beast and human forms. The various beast forms not only excel in combat, but can also enable you to traverse the world more efficiently and to overcome obstacles, and in co-op, you can even ride on another player to charge into battle, or to be
Okay.
used in exploration and platforming, giving you the opportunity for the human player to boost off the creature to jump to a greater height. The action looks great and is helpfully color-coded, and looks like a promising entry in this genre, and the same can be said for Orcs Must Die Death
Alright,
Trap,
I hope.
the return of a long-running franchise.
Alright,
being
no
a
problem, Kendra.
third-person
No
action
problem.
tower defense title,
No
in
problem.
which
I
you are
understand.
using
I
traps
completely understand. Hey, good luck at school, guy. Good luck at school, Kendra.
rather than towers to fend off waves of enemies, along with special abilities and active combat by getting your hands dirty in
I
the
like
thick
Orcs
of
Must Die,
combat.
so what's-
this
this
is
is
now
more
a
on
roguelite, complete with procedural
roguelike.
generation of
So
levels
it's more
and permanent
roguelike, okay.
upgrades in the hub area, where early impressions seem positive
Sure, no
so
problem,
far
Kendra.
and should be
And
a
if
fantastic launch
I suggest follow me on Twitch because yeah, the chat experience is bleh, the chat experience is so much better there. I mean, if you want. But yeah, thank you, Kendra. Thank you for your kind words.
where a game that leaves no doubts is Foundation, or more specifically, the 1.0
Foundation.
release of this laid-back medieval city builder, where I remember way back when, in 2019, in the early days of this channel, that I chanced
Okay.
upon this game, and the developers were kind enough to send the key my way, and was impressed even back then, where in the 6 years or so of early access since then, they have really added a ton of stuff to the game and polished it up, even including visual improvements if I'm not remembering wrongly, and will
Like
be
Tiny
for
Glade.
fans of this genre. The gritless city building system is neat, in which you
Interesting.
mark out entire areas for a specific purpose, and then sit
Okay.
back and wait for your
Okay.
villagers to build organic looking roads and layouts,
Yeah, it
with
looks
the
pretty.
resulting construction of said city looking awesome, with over 14,000 Steam reviews so far, and might be in the running for a spot on a Game of the Year list somewhere, similar to Citizen Sleeper 2 Starward Vector,
Okay.
the sequel to the narrative RPG.
Yeah, I know, right,
that took
Gladys?
the
It looks
world by
awesome.
storm in 2022, looking to be heavily inspired by tabletop RPGs, but with its
Okay.
own original sci-fi universe. In this sequel, you play as an escaped android with a malfunctioning body and a price on your head, managing to get your own ship and to assemble a crew so that you can continue to be on the run, having to take on contracts to stay alive. The core of this
Yeah,
includes
the
rolling
problem
dice
is I'm not
and choosing
that big
which
on
tasks to
cyberpunk
allocate them
theme.
to, with the original having incredible writing and excellent world building, making it a no-brainer, as is the case with Tales of Iron 2 Whiskers of Winter, the follow-up to a title from 2021, but this time set in the frozen north, where the rats are now facing the Bat clan instead, being one part Game of Thrones and one part The Witcher, especially since the voice actor of Geralt voices the narrator in this game, having a similar art style and combat to the original, but probably taking lessons learned from the first game to make this even better.
The
Watch
enemy
this
always
video
starts as a
for
criminal.
upcoming
Yeah, I
action
know, right?
platformers of 2025.
And banish these monsters from whence they came.
One of the hands down best areas in Stellar Blade is the
Okay. I want to watch something a little bit simpler. Let's see. Yeah, let's remove this from the playlist. How do games make stealing fun? Worst movie from India. Oh, okay. The worst movie from India.
अरे उसे कोई बचाओ देखो एक अकेली लाचार औरत पर जुल्म हो रहा है सोनिया सही कहती है ये पत्थरों का शहर है यहाँ कोई किसी के लिए
Okay.
नहीं सोचता
What?
It was at this moment he knew that this video is sponsored by Squarespace.
Oh my god. Okay, okay. Tell you something, right? I remember the time in Philippine cinema, right? This is Indian cinema, right? In Philippine cinema, where they really tried to sell the idea that these old middle-aged actors with mustaches are these badasses. Do you remember that? Do you remember that time where all the action films are these old, out of shape, middle-aged men, and somehow they were getting girlfriends or love interests that were young enough to be their daughter, and somehow we were supposed to believe that these guys were role models. Thank God we're not in that era anymore of cinema. Like if we do have an actor who is like a supposed to be an action star and they're old, they're treated as old, and they have love interests who are just as old as them. Do you remember that? Remember that? You had, like, you know, Ronnie Ricketts, Eddie Garcia. Yeah, those. Oh yeah, I remember those. Like, oh yeah. I mean, no offense to Fernando Poe Jr., but let's be honest. Come on. Like all these middle-aged men who are out of shape, and when I say out of shape, it's so obvious they have a belly, and we're supposed to believe these guys are badasses.
Welcome back to our Bad Movies World Tour. Today's destination, India. When it comes to bad movies, India has plenty to offer. Race-free, Coolie #1, while Ganesh, the sheer amount of films produced means competition is fierce. This is why Destrohi is so impressive. In a sea of carcinogens, it stands as the undisputed champion of India's best worst movies.
Best worst
With an
movies?
IMDb rating of 1.2 out of 10, the film
Okay.
allegedly made people bleed out their eyes, gave them heart attacks, and cursed them with
Why?
necromancy.
Okay, I'm
Written,
curious.
produced, and starring Kamal R. Khan, KRK for short, this 2008 action thriller is the room of India, unintentionally funny in the same unhinged ways.
Of
They
like
are
the
both
room,
made in the
okay.
2000s but look 80s. They are both preachy as hell, all presented via immaculate awful acting, featuring an enigma of egocentric filmmakers. This is
Okay.
a must-watch for any cult film enthusiast.
I think I kinda
So,
want to now.
sit back and enjoy. This is Destrohi, the worst movie from India. KRK is a 33-year-old man playing, I think, a teenager.
तू कॉलेज जा बेटा
After his grandfather passed away, KRK runs to Mumbai to escape from his abusive father. There, he witnesses the corruption of an urban world. He sees people buying drugs on the street, the camera zooms out, and KRK is like, right there. He sees gangsters on the street robbing people as this big guy menacingly drinks your juice. He meets a racist shopkeeper who channels his racism towards North Indians into poetry.
एक ईंट उठाओ तो दूध वाला निकलता है दूसरी ईंट उठाओ
Okay.
तो अखबार वाला निकलता है अनाथ आश्रम बना दिया है आमची मुंबई को
Most importantly, he meets Sonia, his street vigilante.
Uh-huh.
चेहरे पे इतनी रवानगी और भोलापन मारपीट में नंबर 1
Oh my god, the acting.
He helps her by punching someone in the descendants and then killing someone in self-defense. Shots fired, KRK becomes the target of both cops and mobsters. We have our inciting incident 1 hour into the movie.
What? Okay.
राजा ये मेरा भाई है
5 minutes later.
इसलिए राजेश शर्मा का दूसरा नाम किलिंग मशीन है
5 minutes later.
5 minutes later तू रब से भी प्यारा
I'm not joking. All of this happened in 5 minutes. And then KRK dies in the most cinematic way possible. Okay, he doesn't die, he just warms around for like 2 minutes. Sonia carts him to a hospital like an airport luggage. You guys ever play Monster Hunter? Fed up with the
Okay.
injustice, KRK vows to gun down every criminal and corrupt politician.
तब कसम गंगा मैया की मैं इन सब देशद्रोहियों को मार
Oh
डालूंगा
my god,
Behold,
that
the
acting.
most impressive stunt of the movie.
I mean, it's like our films, that is, let's be honest.
Together with a friend, they confront the bad guys.
इनसे मैं निपटूंगा
KRK
What
gets
the hell?
branded a terrorist. The end. Surprise! Okay, the climax is actually incredibly funny. I'm going to spoil it because the movie is hard to find. I assume most of you won't be watching it anyway. But if you want to experience for yourself, skip ahead. So, in a genius move that would make Neil Breen envious, KRK walks up to a
Okay.
corrupt politician and forces him to sing the national anthem, or else he'll blow everyone up. When no one knows how to sing it, KRK proceeds to stare into the camera and lectures the
जिस
audience.
देश को चलाने का ठेका इन लोगों ने लिया हुआ है उस देश का राष्ट्रीय गान इन्हें याद नहीं है
And the audience nods in agreement. Splendid. Suddenly, he has an urge to open a shop and sell some nutcrackers. It was at this
Okay.
moment he knew he should use Squarespace.
Oh my
Because
god,
with
this guy's
Squarespace, he can
advertising.
easily create a professional website from scratch using
Oh my
pre-made
god, that's so
templates.
fun. Oh my
The editing
god.
process is intuitive even for someone with no web design experience. But that's not all. As adrenaline courses through his body, he sees the deeper truth. That Squarespace is excellent for online commerce. He can do more than open a shop. There are also analytic tools to monitor traffic, do search engine optimization, and even do his taxes. Once this is all over, he'll for sure start his free trial at squarespace.com/accentcinema. Using the
Okay.
code accentcinema even gives him 10% off his first purchase. And now, all he needs to do is survive this. Aw shucks. Guess he made his realization too late, but you can still do this. Visit squarespace.com/accentcinema and start your website today. I hope my summary expresses how hysterical this movie is. For good
Yeah.
measure, here are a few specific examples. In this flashback, we see KRK being beaten by his abusive father.
अरे तू बाप है ये राक्षस इतना मारेगा तो मर जाएगा ये
The camera slowly zooms out, showing this dummy standing there looking perfectly fine. Dude's acting is another highlight.
लगता है इतिहास के पन्नों से निकलकर महारानी लक्ष्मीबाई खुद मुंबई
Yeah,
आ गई
like
हैं
this is the problem with passion
While other
projects,
actors
right?
are all
No
infinitely
one's there
more
to say
competent,
no to you.
the dialogues were still written by KRK.
दुनिया में जो भी जंग हो रही है वो गुस्से की वजह से हो रही है अगर दुनिया में अमन और शांति चाहिए तो गुस्से को काबू में रखो सब सुकून हो जाएगा
Ah, yes. If a lot of people love each other, the world would be a better place to live. It may seem like I'm dogpiling on KRK, that's because I am. Every cult classic has a spiritual leader. The Room has Tommy Wiseau, Faithful Finding has Neil Breen, and this movie has Kamal R. Khan. It's the aura of the auteurs. The fact that KRK is a YouTube film critic makes this movie even more of a riot.
He is?
That's right, the man has a YouTube channel with 1.2 million subscribers. From what I've heard, he's famous for talking smack about other Bollywood celebrities, resulting in a diss track against him and even being arrested for defamation. I can't speak Hindi, so I can't fact check for details, sadly.
Okay.
What's more relevant is KRK's Twitter.
Hey Artsy, first of all, welcome in. We're just reacting to videos. We're watching a YouTube video about the worst Indian film in Indian cinema. One of the worst films. in
Just a
Indian
glance and you quickly realize the man is
Okay.
very politically active. Indeed,
Right.
in 2014,
Fine.
KRK even tried to run for office.
All right, there
It's
we
a
go.
mindset that perfectly explains the movie. Destroy is, at its core, a political film.
How are you, Artsy?
As a North Indian working in the Mumbai film industry, his frustration with racism and corruption must be at least somewhat genuine. Some may
Okay.
find his depiction contrived, but racism is inherently
Oh,
contrived
you're
to begin
alive?
with.
You're all
It's
alive!
hard to fault the
I'm
sentiment.
high, though.
Behind the
It's so bad,
buffoonery
it's-
is
yeah,
an
exactly,
almost
Gladys, it's so
respectable
funny.
mind who wanted the world to be a better place. But
Okay.
KRK also has a molestation complaint against him, so, you know, I retract my respect. I've been comparing KRK to Faisal and Breen, and that's on purpose. As I was watching this film for the first time, I was delighted by the striking similarity between this film and the bad movies I love. As mentioned, this movie was made in the 2000s but looks 80s, just like The Room and Faithful Findings.
It does.
These movies all have lead actors with zero charisma but way too much confidence. Luckily, KRK doesn't strip naked. Nevertheless, he plays a character whom women fall for no discernible reasons. Both KRK and Breen wanted to spread a good message, and both of them knows little about the topic.
हिंदुस्तान में 31 राज्य, 1618 भाषा, 6400 जातियां और 6 धर्म होने के बावजूद हिंदुस्तान एक है.
There are only 28 states in India.
Isn't that corrupt?
Finally, there's the
Okay.
desperate attempt at clinging onto relevancy. After people laugh at The Room, Tommy Wiseau began claiming it to be a comedy. In the same way, people think KRK is an idiot, so he plays into everyone's expectations. Here we have an Instagram post from KRK. Quote, "Congratulations to me, hashtag Dr. KRK. And here is a tweet from him that says, "I have proved by one single film, Destroy, that I am the best." The man, at this point, is clearly self-aware.
Okay.
We live in an age of a performative economy. Political pundits, conspiracy theorists, crypto bros, every celebrity wannabe embraces controversy while hiding behind a thin veneer of sarcasm. It seemed to me that KRK is doing the same. Since the release of the film, KRK has embraced this idiot persona. Instead of self-reflecting, the man seeks to be provocative at every corner.
I mean,
Indeed,
that's
KRK
called
may
clout-
actually
clout
be a
chasing,
comedic genius.
right? Clout farming.
Yet, regardless of if he is truly delusional, the man has chosen his side and made his statement. Thus, the rule of goats applies. As the rule stated, if you fornicated with a goat, even if you did it as a joke, you are still a goat fucker.
I've never heard of that
What
saying
was I talking about
before. Rule of goats, is that a thing?
In a way, I find it rather refreshing that despite Indian cinema being so different, our bad movies are still bad in the same way. Underneath the different methods of expression is the same desire shared across cultures.
Create
From
his own, I
depicting
guess.
himself as a national hero to acting like an idiot in real life to grab your attention, KRK
Wait, I wanna
wanted
check if
fame,
that's an actual
wanted
saying.
recognition, much
Rule
like
of goats.
Vaisol
Let me
and
check.
Breen. And so, they all fulfill that fantasy by making vanity projects. On the other hand, be it KRK, Breen, or even James Wen, they all made attempts at sending positive messages.
Oh my god.
As shallow as those.
It actually is a thing. And I quote, "The rule of goats say that self-awareness or irony doesn't change public perception. If you fuck a goat, even if you're saying it's for the lulz or to prove a larger point, you're still a goat fucker." I'm reading from Urban Dictionary. The saying was coined by criminal defense attorney Ken White of the Pope Hat Report. It's loosely connected to an Irish pub joke about an old man who has multiple accomplishments, but also once fucked a goat. In the end, nobody recognizes him for his achievements, instead only knows him as the goat fucker. Okay. Alright. I will use that in everyday conversation, at least once per day.
Attempts are. I suppose the rule of anti-goats also applies. Even if you did a good deed for attention, the good deed is still done. It's an interesting duality of human desire, one which, as a fellow YouTuber, I find it oddly relatable. Perhaps when we laugh at the film, we are just sharing a moment of vulnerability.
Alright. Okay, that was mildly fun. Okay, I'm
Sponsored
shaking.
by Squarespace.
Okay, I'm done being high. I'm done being high. All right. Let's see. Ooh, yeah. I want to use my air fryer a lot more.
Wow. So the first time I ever
Artsy, you don't realize there's only 3 redeems of that, huh? All right.
used an air fryer was in this video right here. 7 years ago, I went in very skeptical, came out an air fryer fanatic, and since then I have tested hundreds of recipes.
Yes, a lot of those redeems only have a limit of 3 to prevent people like you from spamming it. All right.
Pretty much everything you can possibly air fry, I've tested over the years. I've put out dozens of air fryer videos racking in over 100 million views. And I've read thousands of your comments on the recipes you really resonate with. So I wanted to put together one video with my top 10 air fryer recipes of all time.
Oh my
These
God,
are the recipes that all
good.
of you have loved over the years, plus the things that I still make on a weekly basis.
Oh,
We're gonna start
okay.
things off with breaking down a whole chicken because air fryers, it turns out, are just really exceptional for chicken meal prep. Now, of course, you don't need to buy a whole chicken and break it down yourself.
Dude, I've been air frying chicken without oil. Okay? It's just as crispy, it's just as juicy. All right? With a lot healthier because you don't use oil.
But it turns out
Look, Artsy, don't worry. I'm going to come up with things to use it. Okay. Let me turn this off first. Okay, for those worried about the child points, first of all, why are you guys complaining? Child points are free. Hey, okay. 2, I will inflate the prices because if something is abundant, I will inflate the prices. 3, I am planning to add new stuff to redeem. I just haven't figured out a lot of things. If you want, you guys can suggest what else to put in. 4, you know how I can change the costume and have Chuck and all that? I plan to have that in the control of you guys. You guys can change the clothing, change how Chuck looks. I will put that in your control. All I'm waiting for, Artsy, is the L2, the 2.0 model that you guys are making. Once that's done, you guys are in control of that. Are you guys happy? Okay, that will be about. You will have control over that. You will even have control over the persona. That's part of my plan. Like if you want me to become Lady J, yeah, we can change it to Lady J, to Chuck, whatever. Can I add a bald toggle for the funny? Sure. I mean, I'm not paying for it, Artsy, but go ahead. All right.
out that every single piece of this chicken gets used in like four different recipes on this list.
If you want to add, I'm not going to say no if you're going to add bonuses I did ask for, but yeah.
Which brings me to the number 10 spot on this list, the ultimate roasted chicken stock. An essential for me when it comes to meal prep. So once I have all of these pieces of chicken, I'm gonna save the breast, wings, and thighs for upcoming recipes. And
can you give me an ahigaw? Especially for the Lady J. I'm joking.
I'll take the remaining carcass, drumstick, and skin and pop that right into my air fryer.
Why are you wasting those?
Those would be valuable in other recipes, just not anything that I'm air frying today. So they will also make great stock. Now, I generally cook
do not waste drumstick for stock.
A medium heat over a longer period of time.
What the hell?
I'll start off 20 minutes. 375, and we'll see where we're at, right?
Oh,
so
that's
where we're at now. You can see some pretty good.
Look. Listen. I get that Americans eat chicken breasts, and I don't understand why they do, but go on. But look at all the pieces they're using for stock, right? Like, they're just picking for chicken stock. There's the wings. There's, what part is this? Okay, this part I understand. But that's the easel. That's the fucking tail. We eat that here in the Philippines. That's the fattiest part of the chicken.
Good browning, but I think we could definitely render more fat.
Drumsticks,
get it a little more brown. So I'm just gonna do 5 more minutes. All right, now that is perfect. Fully rendered skin, golden brown, ready to slow cook.
Now once roasted, they go right into a slow cooker or a pressure cooker or just a stock pot, whatever you use to make your stock. And I'll cover the roasted chicken bones with water. And aromatics are completely optional. I'm gonna add a full head of garlic and some onion and slow cook that for around 8 to 12 hours. I find gives you a really nice, flavorful roasted stock. And of course, from all of that skin and fat that rendered down in the roasting process, it catches in the bottom of the air fryer and you just wanna dump that off.
All right, hold on. on. I
save
just
it to cook
realized
with
I
over the next
the
few
ground
days.
beef
And after
for
about
tonight's
10
cooking
hours,
is still
I'll
in the
strain off
freezer.
the bones, I'll strain off
I'm
the
gonna bring it
aromatics,
out.
and boom, you have by far the most simple yet effectively delicious way to make a stock, which makes up probably around 90% of the broth and stock I use in my household. Coming in at the number 9 spot, we have crispy air-fried tofu. And I can tell you, since I learned this technique, tofu has never touched a pan again in my kitchen. It's just so easy. All you need is a big block of firm tofu. And what's great is you really don't need to dry it off since it dries out when you air fry it. And you can cut it up into nice even cubes. Sometimes I'll do that, but most of the time I'm too lazy and I just rip it up into little chunks and put that right into the air fryer. Then I'll spray it down with whatever oil I have on hand. I'll hit it with some salt, and that goes right into the air fryer.
So we're just gonna do 375. We'll roast for 10 minutes, and then we'll start.
Turn it to cubes.
So we're 10 minutes in. You can see it's got that nice base brown, but it's not crispy yet. But you can toss it, no problem. So now we're just gonna cook for another 5 minutes. I'll toss it every 1 or 2 minutes until it's perfect. Here we go. Look at that crispiness.
And trust me, once you have these little crispy tofu chunks, you will find ways to use them. I'll throw them in salads, I'll throw them in soups. They also make a great meat replacement for really any stir fry.
Okay, all right, okay, fine.
Now, before we move on to number 8, I have some very exciting news, which is the launch of this thing right here, the Ultimate Air Fryer Cookbook. Now, the reason I made this is because air fryers for me have been so influential. I've collected all of these recipes over the years that I still use daily in my meal prep, and I wanted to bring them all together in one convenient companion that you could have with you in the kitchen while you're doing your own meal prep. So this book has all 10 of the recipes on this list, obviously, because they are my favorite, plus a bunch more. Again, all of these recipes are things that I've tested over the years that I still use today. And if you're an air fryer fan, I think you will really get some good use out of this book. So if you're interested, check out the link below. And we will move on to number 8, which is one of my favorite recipes in this book. I call it healthier falafel, and since first making it, it's the only way I have ever made falafel since. So this recipe starts out like any authentic falafel recipe. We gotta soak some chickpeas overnight until they're fully hydrated. And what I do is I throw them in a towel and I'll just roll that around a bit to absorb any excess moisture on the chickpeas. I'll dump them into a food processor along with some onions, garlic, basil, parsley, about half the juice of a lemon, some salt to season, and I'll pulse that down till you get a consistency just like this. If you don't have one of these special falafel scoopers, just use a spoon like this to scoop some up and then kind of form it in your hand. And I will add about 6 to 9 pieces directly to my air fryer.
Now, according to the book, we say 370, around 8 to 9 minutes. See what happens. All right, looking good. You can go a little bit more on the browning if you want, but I'm happy with that.
Carly, when she first started working here, never used an air fryer.
Anti-air fryer.
Sort of coming from the restaurant world, I see a lot of that. I hear a lot of that.
And coming from like a really small kitchen with no counter space. That is my biggest.
Yeah, I don't understand why a lot of people are so saying, oh, it's air fryer. It's not real cooking. It is. It's technology.
Resistance to it.
Yeah. Oh, like in your house, not in a restaurant, you're saying?
In my house.
In your house.
As a home cook.
But now that you have an air fryer.
But now that I have an air fryer, I do use it.
You're converted.
Yeah.
I am a true evangelist, and Carly has converted. And like this, to me, is such a good reason why.
Yeah, get an air fryer. It's
I don't
basically a
deep fry
toaster
falafel
oven
anymore. It's just so
it's
much
much healthier
oil,
than
and
frying.
This is a great
Because you're not using oils.
It lives in its own world because you can't bake falafel that well in the oven. I've never had a baked falafel in the oven that I think is good.
No, because they don't stay crispy.
Aren't these amazing?
They're really good.
That is so good.
Yeah, that's good.
You're converted.
I'm converted. Also, I think now, like, I'd rather have an air fryer on my counter than have my apartment smell like fryer oil.
Yeah. You remember when deep fryers, like
countertop deep fryers?
I had one in my catering days. I feel like those things have dropped off since air fryers have come out.
I mean, because why would you use that over this?
That was also such a novelty thing, like
true.
you said. I used that a few times, and I'm like, I don't want nasty oil.
Yeah.
What do you?
Like honestly, that's one of the reasons why I use it. And like my oil usage has really dropped since then. I do have an issue with it. Like I've been trying to make tempura, and on an air fryer, they say it can be done. So far, I haven't had a lot of luck. So I still have some tempura batter there, so I'm probably gonna make one with the ordinary way, just so I can get rid of that tempura batter.
Do with all of this oil.
Yeah.
Coming in at number 7, we've got grilled cheese in the air fryer, but a very special grilled cheese because it starts off with crisping up some onions. So I've got 2 small onions here. I will just slice those
That's
up
a small
nice
onion?
and thin, and they get
Dude,
added
you have not
right
seen
to
a
the
small
air
onion.
fryer. I'll spray those down with some oil, and I'm gonna cook them on a low heat, so they sort of dehydrate a little bit and caramelize over time.
Sorry, what
and I'm
does
gonna
that
cook
say?
them on a low heat.
Remove air fryer when air frying food; it'll fall through the cracks. That will fall through the
They
cracks.
sort of
okay.
dehydrate a little bit and caramelize over
I see.
time. So
Okay.
300 usually does the trick for about 15 minutes until they're crispy like this. Now I'm a lucky man because I have a beautiful fresh baked sandwich loaf right here. And I'll take 2 slices. I'm gonna add some cheddar cheese. Anything that melts will work great for this. And then on goes those crispy onions. And this is not in the actual cookbook, but I have so many incredible heirloom tomatoes coming in right now that I could not resist slicing one up and just throwing
Wait,
that in the
the
mix.
air
Then
fryer?
this gets coated with some butter. You could just spray it with oil and into the air fryer it goes.
Just like the book says, we're gonna do 350, 8 minutes.
Okay, I will say that does look good.
After trying it with the tomato,
I don't know if I can call that optional anymore. Oh my god.
Coming in at number 6, we have one of my favorite full meals to make in this thing, which is the
Full
teriyaki and crispy broccoli salmon bowl, which starts off with a nice piece of salmon. This is a pretty big fillet, so I'm gonna cut it in half to portion it out. And I'm personally
Okay,
slicing up the
salmon's
skin
easy to
today. You
get.
can air fry it if you would like. A lot of times I'll air fry the skin separately and add it on later. And I'll season it up with salt and pepper, and this can go in the fridge overnight to brine. Or you could cook it right away, which I'm gonna be doing, so I'll just coat it in a little bit of olive oil and throw it right into the air fryer.
Alright.
there's a few ways you can go on cooking your salmon. I'm gonna place it right in the middle. If your air fryer has a broil setting, you can set it for broil, probably needs 6-7 minutes, or you could just regular air fryer roast at 380. That will work as well. I'm gonna broil. All right, so now this is optional. I've got my teriyaki sauce here, recipe in the book. Right before the salmon is done, you can see it's got a nice crust already. If you just take a little brush and give it a little basting, then I'll throw it back in and just finish the cooking. And that glaze will just go right into the crust.
So now that we have our
Sophia Pierce, I believe in Joe Hendry. I believe in Joe Hendry.
Cause they love him in London and Paris and Tokyo.
All right. Wait. Why does it look that way? It's covering it. Sorry. It shouldn't cover it. Hey, thanks for the raid, Shopee. How are you? All right. I think I need to adjust how that's supposed to look. It's not supposed to look like that. But hey, welcome. How are you, Star? How are you? What were you? I saw you streaming. You were doing art. Wait. Where's Mix It Up? Where's the Mix It Up? There we go. Okay. Yeah, we might have to lower this a little bit. Oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry. I'm just adjusting. I'm just adjusting. Okay. Let's test it out. Yeah, you're drawing. Nice. Okay, hold on. I want to just test to see if it'll. Okay, it's a bit of a. Oh, never mind. Oh, what were you drawing, Shopee? Commissioned art or fan art? Yeah, we're just looking at food stuff. See, as you recall, I do a lot of cooking streams, so we were looking at air fryer recipes. Yeah, we're doing the chill things. Hey, but wait, welcome, Shopee Stars community to the small world of Jay. I mean, we're all humble here. We're all cool, just like Shopee. Nice. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Beautiful teriyaki salmon. Number 5 on this list is either crispy
do I want to do
broccoli
this?
or
Because
crispy
salmon's
cauliflower.
not that
Both of these
cheap as
veggies take
well,
sort of equal
kinda
first place for the veggie I cook the most in the air fryer. And you've seen me do the time trials with cauliflower before. You're saving a good 30 minutes by not having to preheat the oven and just the intensity of cooking that you get from an air fryer, which for me, with my busy lifestyle, feeding kids, I'm taking every single time. So to finish off the teriyaki salmon bowl, I sliced up some florette.
You know what? A lot of people who think I'm weird when you try to char broccoli, but then I have a friend who's a chef, and she swears by it. If you put a char in broccoli, it actually tastes amazing.
Coated them with some oil and some salt, threw them in the air fryer, got them nice and crispy, and
Yeah, I mean,
everything.
I think a lot of people don't like it because it looks ugly, but honestly, it tastes amazing.
To serve it up, I've got some white rice. Pop that right
Not
there.
cooked enough.
Look at the inside of
Not
that.
cooked-
Still a little
okay.
bit medium rare. You can cook it longer if you want.
I mean, I would cook it a little bit longer, but
Crispy air
okay.
fryer broccoli over here. Horse.
That looks nice though.
Beautiful teriyaki
And I'll probably put
sauce.
some
I love
sesame
this meal
seeds as
because
well.
it's complete and most of it happens in the air fryer, so there's not much
Hey, I
mess.
kind of want to do this. I don't know if I want to
Salmon is
stream it
another
because,
item
like I
that
said,
I
you just
know
have to air fry
exclusively
everything.
cook in the air fryer.
But
All right, so we
that
have
looks
4
great.
left and 3 chicken recipes.
That looks
made this
amazing.
top 4. Starting with number 4, we've got the crispy soy chicken. Shout out Tiffy Cooks. Her recipes are the best. She always comes up in my testing viral recipe series. And this crispy soy chicken has become a go-to for me. It's really simple to make. You take some chicken thigh, and I'll grate in some garlic and ginger, and then I'll hit it with some 5-spice powder, which I just ground up myself. Then I add a few tablespoons of dark soy sauce. You can use regular soy sauce. You will get a much deeper flavor and color if you use the dark soy. And finally, just a little bit of honey to sweeten it up. And this will marinate overnight until it looks like this, then right into the air fryer.
All right, chicken looking great. We're gonna put this skin side up because that's where the heating element is on our air fryer. We want that skin crispy. I'm going to just go factory settings, 385, and we'll start with 10 minutes and we'll check in after that. All right, here we go.
What do you have?
Whoa, you barely can see it. Look at the caramelization and the bubbles on that chicken. That is nuts.
Okay. Maybe not that low. I don't want it that black. I mean, I want a little bit of a char, but not that much.
I've made this dish with regular soy sauce and dark soy sauce, which I have here. And you can see the dark soy sauce, you get a much darker, more intense chicken. This really is a simple dish. I can smell the roasted 5-spice in there. Whoa. The closest thing I can think of is that mall-style bourbon chicken. You get a real infusion of flavor from the marinade. There's no salt other than the soy sauce, and you don't need it.
Yeah,
you don't really
yeah.
need a sauce either because that salt
Soy sauce is basically salt, so just remember you don't have to put that much salt when you're using soy sauce.
carries through the entire dish. That is awesome. Thanks again, Tiffy Cooks.
Now coming in at
I want
number
to
3,
see
we've
chopstick game.
Need it. And you don't really need a sauce either because that salt carries through the entire dish. That is awesome.
Okay, more or less the same
Thanks
way.
again, Tiffy Cooks.
Now coming in at number 3, we've got what I call my family favorite chicken finger because everyone in my family loves these things. I probably make them every single week. I first figured these out from testing 6 different chicken tenders to get the best in this video right here. And the cornflake breading was number 1. Pure cornflakes. So that's what I do. I grind up some cornflakes. I make a 3-part breading. You know how this works at this point. Now, what I love about
can
the
see
air
it's gonna be a
fryer
little
is you
sweeter
can batch cook
than what I would
these chicken
expect.
tenders. So if you're making some food for your kids, you could just fry a few up. You can pop some, like I have right here, in the fridge. These will last a few days in the fridge and stay fine. Or you can take these and throw them in the freezer, and they'll last in your freezer, obviously, for a lot longer, and you can just pop them off and throw them in there. They'll just take a little longer to cook. Now, these things not only look amazing, but something about just the cornflakes taste amazing. Now, kids love these things, but
Yeah, it's
really,
cornflakes.
They just
It's
taste like
a little
a perfect
sweeter.
chicken katsu at the end of the day, and I will eat these any day of the week. Coming in at the number 2 spot, we had to have French fries very high on this list.
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
any old French fries. Just like the chicken a few years ago, I tested every single French fry you can make in the air fryer, and this came in at the number 1 spot. I'm using some Burbank potatoes
Fries
from
on
the
the air
garden.
fryer
But like
is
I say in the
actually
book, any single
nice,
potato
nice.
paired with this
Guys, like I
technique in
said,
air
no
fry is
oils,
gonna be
but also
good.
kinda
Trust me, I've
crunchy.
tried pretty much all of them. So it's
Yeah,
a
it doesn't
pretty
get soft
standard
easily.
rice cooked fry. You slice up the potatoes, skin on or off, up to you. I'll first cook them in some boiling water for about 10 minutes, just until they're cooked through, but still holding their shape completely. Then they get drained off, and I'll place them in the air fryer, give them a spray, and send them off for their first cook.
So we are twice frying these. We're gonna start off with our sort of par cook, 385, 10 minutes.
Okay.
All right, first cook. You can see just a sort of light,
Oh,
crispy
you fry
coating. Now you can
twice.
let these sit in the fridge overnight. You can freeze them. They're just par cooked fries. If they're looking dry, you can give them another spray. A shake. And I'm gonna go right back in because I don't have the patience and I just want them now. 400 we're going up to, and we'll do another 8 to 10 minutes.
Interesting.
All right, so it's 4 minutes left, and this is when I start. You can see they're getting crispy, but I'll just give it a shake every 1 or 2 minutes
Oh.
just to make sure the crispiness is even. All right.
It's worth an investment, Shopee. I swear. I almost never use oil now for frying because of it.
Let's see.
Very
what we
convenient
got.
too.
Perfection.
And finally, number 1 on this list. Did you guess it right? You probably did. Chicken wings. The amount of chicken wings that I have made in the air fryer over the last 7 years is
Okay,
insane.
yeah, that
and
makes
this
sense.
specific recipe is kind of
makes
converted
sense,
from
actually.
a few years ago, I did put out a video testing 6 different techniques for chicken wings. The recipe that I put in the book is a slightly converted version of that, something that I think is just a little easier to do than the winner of that video, because at the core, that's what air frying is all about. It's gotta be simple. That's the whole point of this machine. So I only had 2 wings from that whole chicken breakdown, which is not gonna cut it. So I got another pack, which I broke down into pieces. And the wings go into a bowl, and I hit them with about 2 tablespoons of flour. Then you can use any type of barbecue
Flour,
spice
yeah.
mix you have. Something like this will do. I'm actually using the leftover Chipotle barbecue
typically
spice
use
mix
a lot
from
of
my Chipotle
cumin
video
and
because it
paprika
is
for mine.
incredible. So I'll throw that onto the wings. If your spice mix is salt-free, of course, add some salt at this point, and they should have a nice even flour and spice coating just like this. Now these can go right in the air fryer, but I do like letting them sit in the fridge so that seasoning can penetrate a bit and the exterior will dry out a little bit to give you extra crispiness.
Yeah,
once
dude,
these
I
are
do
air
that
fried.
too.
You don't want to
Like a lot of people, you
overcrowd
put it in the
these
fridge so it
they
dries
won't
out
get
a
as
little bit,
crispy. It's important.
and
so
the spice
probably
has time to
do
penetrate.
half. Spread them out nicely. That's plenty. Now, if you don't have flour in there, you don't really need oil because the fat renders. But I'm just gonna give them the lightest spray, just to start.
I never
things
understood
off
this
so we
part.
get
We
that
don't have
perfect
that here in my
crisp
country,
on
by the way.
exterior.
The oil
Go
sprays. We just
400.
typically just have oil in
Start with
bottle,
9 minutes,
and we
9 or 10
lightly
minutes.
brush it.
All right, just gonna
We don't
check
have
in
those
at
sprays.
9 minutes.
Ooh, look at
So
that.
nice. I'm gonna do
Look
like
at that.
1.
But
or
again,
2 more
I normally
minutes.
wouldn't
Let's do
spray.
2 more minutes.
I wouldn't
So
spray
just
with
that
oil because it
very
already
light
cooks quite
coating of
fine.
Flour gives it that nice thin crackly crust.
Yeah,
These
okay.
are just perfect to me. Of course, you can coat these
I think,
in any
of course, the
barbecue sauce
coloring
you
would be
want,
better
or
if
you
you
can
put
just even
oil,
like this, which I
but
do a lot.
in my case, because I am watching my weight, I am in a diet.
That recipe
it's-
over the
it-
years.
I try to
Harley.
reduce
Would
oil.
you say you're a wing connoisseur?
No.
No?
But I do like wings.
Okay.
They're perfect.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even put barbecue
That's
sauce on.
yeah.
a
Because
lot
of
of
the
times
quality
I
of
just serve
starch.
those
They're
like
perfect.
with the side salad. So good.
So crispy.
So those were my top 10 recipes. Remember to check out my new Ultimate Air Fryer Cookbook. A lot of the air fryer cookbooks that I've seen, they're like 500
Maybe one of these
recipes,
days,
which
I
think is
reminds me, I have to
so
brine chicken
unnecessary.
again.
I wanted to create something that was attainable, something simple, that would really work as
Okay.
a guide for recipes that have, one, changed my life, and hopefully will
Is the video
change
over?
your
Yeah, the
life.
video's
So
over.
check it out. Click the link below.
Okay,
We've
I
got
mean, it's a
special.
great video, but a lot of this I already knew about. But yeah. All right, remove from the playlist. What else can we watch? And then let's play a game after this. But like I said, let's be chill, let's be relaxed. So let's hang out. If you guys want to talk about, I think, how to forget a game. Games that are scared to let go. Ooh, this is okay. Wow, 43 minutes. Okay, let's watch a little bit. I don't know if we watch the whole thing.
Haven't you? Have you never prayed? The time would
It had Final Fantasy.
The opening of Final
10.
Fantasy X is one of the
Yeah.
busiest starts to a game you'll find.
Oh. Yeah, this part.
Very little time is wasted as
This
you're plunged
part was
into
so
a world
ridiculous.
overflowing with imagination. Fans rush to a stadium with a hanging sphere of water at the center of the playing field for a sport that you could only have dreamt up. Heavy guitar riffs tear into your soul. We pan above a city nested at sea, its buildings accented with tiny waterfalls. A man in red stands above it as the ocean somehow dances in the sky behind him.
Yeah.
He seems to toast his
You
drink
play
to a
around- alright,
gargantuan
got it.
wall of water
I
on
probably
the
will play
horizon.
around.
Strangely,
Well, I
the
probably
city
will be
seems
playing
to
soon as
warp
well.
and distort at its presence. Gravity gets a little sleepy. And without warning, something hiding inside the tsunami attacks, desperately wounding the city. The sphere of water shatters and falls. Statues and buildings crumble, sirens sound, people cower in terror, and eventually, our seeming main character, Titus, finds himself hanging on for dear life at the feet of the man in red, Orin. We get a breathtaking wide shot of the calamity, and with
Yeah,
no
like, this is all
explanation,
just a
Orin
cutscene.
looks
I
up to
remember
the
that this was
past
kind of
for
like,
sure.
wow, lots are happening.
Moments later, they are both somehow peeled out of this existence and into another. They travel through space or time or reality. It's impossible to say this early in the game, but this opening act uses those tiny details to leave you with a pile of unanswered questions.
Okay, yeah.
The opening scene of Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is largely similar in its approach. Children rush through a crowd on the way to an event of some kind to see the fireworks. But when the clock strikes the end of the hour, everything just pauses for one of them. Birds freeze mid-flight, footsteps halt, the wind itself seems to have choked still. His eyes search the plaza, confused and terrified. He turns to the horizon as another planet barrels toward his own. After this, we somehow arrive at a battlefield with no explanation for what has just occurred. 1000 times resist in its beginning moments, literally the first seconds of the game, open with this scene. Someone utters a prayer to an unseen god, then asks why she is getting interrupted. The camera pans back, presumably to your character. You are given a dialogue option that you have no possible way of knowing the correct answer to, and then...
Hair to hair, mother.
Okay.
I really am just like you.
Neva opens with a bird freshly fallen from the sky, rotting in an almost beautiful way. Upon discovering this, seconds later, the main character Alma and her wolves are attacked by some non-specific evil that claws away at her furry friends. When she awakens, one beast has died. It's immediately heartbreaking and a daring way to open a game. These journeys all do something that I've always really admired in storytelling. They present pieces of information that will seem mostly unrelated for a good handful of the story, but suddenly become startlingly important in the end when you finally realize their relevance. They give you full circle endings. And harmoniously, they are also games that revolve around a cycle, a never-ending pattern that casts a shadow over the narrative, one that you and your friends,
the hero's
as the
journey,
heroes
like
of
the
the
story
stories,
circle.
will attempt to break.
For
And
those who
as
don't know
video
that
games go
idea,
on its own,
you
that's a
can
very
research it.
vanilla plot structure,
Very classic,
right? There is a great
fictional,
evil, it has our friends trapped and suffering for
mechanics.
generations. Let's break it and live free of that oppression. You see it all across storytelling, not just video games. The Matrix, The Prince of Egypt, The Hunger Games, your Monday morning alarm clock. The cycle of tyranny is certainly not a trope that any of these games came up with, but they are stories that have somehow made me wonder what it would be like to be the tyrant, which is not what I expected out of them. I never related to Ramesses growing up, you know? I've never thought it would be cool to be Mother Gothel and keep someone trapped for their entire life just so that I could remain forever young. No, that's horrible. Actual, palpable evil. And yet somehow these titles used their cycles and those cryptic openings to not just make me feel like a liberator or a savior, but instead make me feel closer to the villain and better understand them. In moments of weakness during playing these, I genuinely think I would have chosen what these games describe as the morally wrong decision. I would have been the catalyst that plunges these worlds into these horrible cycles. And I know how this sounds, but don't worry, playing these games will not turn you into a supervillain, or worse, a politician, or worse, an Elfeld-main. But I do think they will better help you understand a very specific fleck of human imperfection in your soul,
that looks
and
cool.
maybe better understand yourself and others. I know they did for me. This is going to be one of those videos that hopefully has us both crying in the club once we wrap it up. Today, we're talking about games that don't just illustrate a cycle of suffering, but that show how that cycle began, and why empathizing with the evil is just as important as being inspired by the good. There will be some mild and some major spoilers for quite a few titles in this, but there will be well-marked timestamps throughout. These two generally illustrate the same point, so if you skip one and watch the other, you'll be fine. But honestly, most of the spoilers are so vague that I really don't think it'll tarnish a first-time playthrough. So just give it a go and use your judgment. Or, you know, you could just completely throw caution to the wind and let me take you for a ride.
Yeah, I don't mind. I don't mind.
When Tidus wakes up, he finds himself in a world completely alien to his own. His city, Zanarkand, allegedly was destroyed 1,000 years ago. So as the player, it seemingly becomes clear, somehow you've traveled 1,000 years into the future. That thing that attacked Zanarkand is called Sin, and the people of Spira have been suffering its wrath ever since. The cycle that Final Fantasy X presents is Sin's constant defeat and reappearance because unfortunately, Sin cannot be defeated, at least not permanently. A summoner must go on a pilgrimage across Spira in order to collect powerful beings called Aeons, and eventually summon the final Aeon, a force that will banish Sin for 10 years. The people call that decade the Calm, a period of respite from the calamity. Once the calm is over, Sin will return, a new summoner must rise, and the cycle begins anew. In the rotation of the cycle that Tidus happens upon, he meets a summoner in training named Yuna, whose father was the last person to banish Sin. Tidus agrees to be one of her guardians for her pilgrimage, and the two of them, being the youngest and often most naive of the group, hit it off.
ART.
Each grew up in the shadow of a wildly successful father. Both are overwhelmed in their own way. Yuna under the pressure of potentially saving her world, and Tidus coming to grips with being literally torn from his. They relate to each other in a way that the rest of the crew simply cannot. And as the narrative unfolds, we see them grow together, we see them confide in one another and find peace in each other's presence. Their conversations are warm and light. This laugh scene you've probably seen, by the way.
Yeah, the meme laugh.
In context, is not terrible voice acting. Yuna is trying to cheer Tidus up and asks him to force a laugh. He does, she joins in, and afterwards they share a genuine laugh at how insane that just was to do in front of their friends. It's even performed this way in the Japanese version. And it's scenes like this that make you fall in love with seeing them together.
I mean, yeah,
but
context
because of the ever-growing threat of Sin, as well as other hints about what exactly happens when Yuna summons the final Aeon, you as the player find yourself desperately wanting them to slow down, to just remain in these tender moments. With every new leg of the journey and every new revelation, you can't seem to shake the feeling that this can't last. Fearing that, you almost wish they'd forget this journey and just build a life together. Let another summoner beat Sin. Don't go back to Zanarkand. Don't go forward to Sin. You want them to just stay here. And I want you to remember that tug in your chest, because it's going to be very important later.
Yep, I remember.
Xenoblade 3's cycle also revolves around a decade. The people of Kevez and Agnes, two ever-warring nations, have 10-year lifespans that somehow begin in adolescence. In that time, all they know is combat and watching their friends die at the hands of the enemy. You kill the other side, you get to absorb their life force back into your side and keep on living. If you make it to 10 years, you are celebrated and quote-unquote sent back to the queen in a grand ceremony. These individuals live in order to die. And whereas Final Fantasy X spends most of the game discovering the details of its cycle and then seeking to break it later on, Xenoblade makes it very clear early on that this must end. Two small squads from each side, Noah, Lanz, and Eunie, Mio, Taion, and Senna, after fighting discover that they are evenly matched. All of them exhausted, Noah begins to question to both sides why they're doing this.
Why are you fighting me?
Fate suddenly intervenes as a strange man steps in to stop the violence, claiming that their real foe is Mobius. Mobius is the reason for all of the fighting. After finding that they're stronger together, the six of them put their differences aside and try to end this war. And in the first half of the game, we don't get a ton of explanation as to what Mobius precisely is. There are clues over time. Many Mobius members are old while our party is clearly young.
He's so different from us.
All wrinkled.
But while the threads of this mystery slowly unravel, you of course get to know these characters quite well. Taion and Eunie slowly become best friends. Lanz and Senna challenge one another to break out of the shadows of their past together. You get to watch the walls between Noah and Mio crumble as they learn to trust one another. As the offseers of their squads, they've been charged with sending off all of their friends to look those gruesome endings in the eye every time. They've intimately seen death more than anyone else, and who here can possibly relate to that more than each other? And like Titus and Yuna, you can't help but get swept off your feet at their sweet little interactions and how much they respect one another and continually amaze one another. But like Final Fantasy X, you get the feeling that this cannot last, as it becomes hard to ignore the fact that Mio's decade is nearly finished. She has 2 months left. Much like 10, there is this dissonance between what Mio wants, which is to hurry up and go end the war, and what you, the player, want, for things to slow down, to not rush this journey because you don't want to see her go in case the cycle can't be broken. You don't want Noah to lose her. And you kind of see this manifest in him as well. In one scene where Noah wants to take their time and be very careful, Mio is panicking because she can't afford to lollygag or be too strategic.
Take what easy. We rest today and tomorrow. Before I know it, it'll be time.
She wants her final days to matter. And of course, you want them to matter too, but also, can't we just stay here a little bit longer? Surely we can afford to wait some, right? The prison chapter in Xenoblade 3 is not your typical prison chapter. In Chrono Trigger, you break out in a fun stealth sequence. In Wind Waker, you just find a hole in the wall. But here, no one comes to bail you out. There is no game to be played. Our heroes, in a narrative where time is more precious than any other resource, are trapped in jail literally until Mio's homecoming. This is where she will spend her final 2 months. Not laughing with her friends, realizing her true feelings on a magical evening in the woods, not admiring a sunset with Noah, but here, all alone in a cell adjacent to her friends. Your heart shatters as after weeks of silence, she finally speaks with Noah through the wall.
I'd like to spend that time with my Noah.
Oh, that's sweet.
It's a bitter reminder of what could have been, what should be, if not for this evil cycle. Time marches toward the end, and every fiber of your being wishes that time could simply stop, that you wouldn't be forced to say goodbye. And by design, it's this exact desire that you are feeling as this plays out that created the cycle that is now causing these emotions. This is N, one of the big bad villains of Xenoblade 3, the one who captured and imprisoned Noah and the crew. And at the dramatic conclusion of this chapter, he, or perhaps Noah himself, experiences a vision, a reel of never-ending memories. Noah and Mio have lived and died countless times over history, constantly re-feeding into this cycle with no memory of their previous lives until this moment. In their previous
Okay.
decade lifespans, they've been married, had children, fallen in love over and over again. They've found their way to each other in each instance, and Noah, without fail, continues to watch her die. Maybe it was in combat, maybe it was due to sickness, maybe her decade was up, maybe it was instead having to say
Okay.
goodbye to their child. But after suffering the loss of the ones he loves most, this Noah is given a chance to do what we have been silently screaming for this entire game, to simply stop, to stay with Mio and no longer be subject to the pain of loss and suffering, to no longer be chained to the ravages of sorrow and time, to never have
So
to
the bad
say
guy's
goodbye
himself?
again. And it would have been very possible for him to walk away like a typical video game hero. This isn't right, I can't accept it if it's not real, but like a human,
Hey,
like
Lime.
I would likely also do if I were given the chance to never have to say goodbye to my wife, he takes it.
So you have chosen then. The endless now.
And it's at this moment that he, like so many others, becomes Mobius, becomes in,
Okay.
and feeds into the cycle of suffering. Not because he is a biblical slave driver or the head of a corrupt government, but because he's human, because the pain of loss has stripped him of all reason.
Yeah, okay, yeah, it makes sense. Like, that's how you form a very sympathetic good villain.
This is likely exactly how one might feel after seeing their home be destroyed, as Zanarkand is.
Okay.
And it's from this piercing sorrow that the cycle of sin begins in Spira. Much of what I'm about to tell you
Hey,
is
Gal,
buried in the
it's a okay. So it's a video called "Games That Are Scared to Let Go." So basically, it's all about how a video game or a video game story successfully gets you to refuse to let go of something like grief and all that. It's a really good one. By the way, I really recommend this channel. The channel is called Daryl Talks Games, and he has a lot of video essays about game design and storytelling. But yeah, you may want to mute certain parts because if you don't, he tries not to give too much. But there are some spoilers about Final Fantasy X and Xenoblade. But yes, this is all about about games, as the title says, that are scared to let go, or how it tries to get you to refuse to let go, whether it's for love reasons or whatever.
subtext. It's less direct of an illustration as we
Yeah.
get in Xenoblade, but it sort of all starts to become clear when Titus touches this wall
How was
of
Dredge
statues
last night, Gal?
near the peak of Mount Gagazet. Statues that hold the souls.
By the way, I just realized. Are you okay that I keep calling you Gal? I just realized I didn't ask your permission before I shortened your name, or do you prefer a Galmuth, like kind of thing?
of people who willingly sacrifice themselves to be sealed away. Their
Alright.
latent desires are the power source that summoners use to call forth aeons. A fate perhaps not better,
Oh, God,
but
it's fine.
certainly
Alright, fair,
different
okay.
than death.
But yeah, I
They
like
call them
Dredge.
fate.
Like I said, my only problem with Dredge is sometimes you have to intentionally play bad, otherwise you don't see some of the enemies or some of the cool monsters. Because honestly, yeah, I remember the first time I played Dredge, I literally just kept sleeping at night no matter what, as much as possible. I know there were certain fish that you had to fish at night, and at those times I went out, but for the most part, I almost exclusively fished in the mornings.
Souls that have not moved on.
Oh, nice,
And after
nice.
touching
And
one,
I'm guessing you're going to
Titus
the
falls
DLC
into a
after?
sudden dream of his home. For the first time since the start of the game, he is back in Zanarkand. During his time there, he speaks with one of those faith. We find out that 1,000 years ago, there was a war, not where sin attacked, but where sin was created. Zanarkand
basic.
was
Okay.
lost in this war, and so to preserve it, those that survived willingly chose to become faith and summon a dream state Zanarkand, one that really
Yeah, I
exists
didn't like
just
this twist of
Aeons,
Final
one that
Fantasy
exists
X.
in the current day, but is hidden far
I
away
felt it made
at
it
sea.
overcomplicated.
The
the
very
story,
same
my opinion.
Zanarkand
That's my
we
personal
see
opinion.
at the start. But to maintain that dream, sin had to be created to protect it, and to protect the summoner inside, summoning that dream. Titus's Zanarkand can only exist so long as sin exists. This dream that the people have wished for, out of the unyielding despair of losing their home, is their endless now, their way out of facing this tragedy. Like N, they don't move on. They can't accept saying goodbye. They simply want to stay. Don't you?
Yeah, this video is well made because
These
I'm
are
tearing
not
up a
the
little
first
bit.
games to illustrate the pain of loss, nor are they the first to explore characters that can't accept that loss. All of Silent Hill 2 is a disturbing illustration
that's
of
true.
James's inability to deal with the loss of his wife, Mary. The town itself is a metaphysical manifestation of the repressed trauma and denial that she is really gone. He comes to the town because he believes he can find her there. Throughout much of the game, he desperately, almost delusionally holds fast to the notion that she could still be alive.
Mary? You're not.
In Hellblade, we guide Senua on a
wanna
journey
play
to
Hellblade.
find
I
the
think
soul
hearing
of her
good things
lost
about the
lover,
story.
Dillion. She believes that the Norse gods have taken him, and so she drags herself through uncanny visions and encounters with living nightmares. Again, all for the sake of finding what has been lost and bringing it back, all in order to escape the agonizing reality. These games all arrive at the same conclusion: refusal to let go, insistence upon never letting a memory stay a
All right,
memory,
okay. I mean,
only leads
if I ever get
to
the funds
ruin.
for it,
These
I think I
are
would.
the morally
Or if it's in
wrong
the Xbox
decisions.
Game
You
Pass.
will only destroy yourself and those around you. To some degree, some of us may have experienced this in our own lives. Maybe a
Yeah.
previous failed relationship leads you to close up emotionally for risk of getting hurt again.
Fuck you, Daryl. Fuck you. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Perhaps you've lost someone and life hasn't been the same since.
Yeah.
You can't move on. How could you? And because of this, your bonds to those you still have suffered. Maybe it's
I mean,
as
I'm
simple
okay,
as
guys. I'm
marinating on
okay.
your past.
But yes, it is true that ever since my last serious relationship, I haven't had one, and that was like pre-COVID. But I'm fine. I assure you, I'm fine, guys. I'm fine.
Mistakes and living your life looking in the rearview mirror. Maybe you have lost your home. Maybe you have every right to feel this way. These games illustrate these emotions through big, magnanimous metaphors,
Emotional damage,
larger-than-life paintings of grief and resignation. Fear becomes a never-ending war. Sorrow becomes an infinite calamity. Grief becomes a bloody, putrid
It's a good video.
vortex of
It's a very good
town.
video.
Agony becomes a feverish journey into hell, and yet, in so many ways, they contradict that by making you feel the exact emotion that they caution against. They say don't get attached, then make you get attached. They tell you to move on after making it hard to move on, which is something that Persona 5 does in a much more subtle way. Because it
I
asks
never
you,
played this one.
what if your endless now didn't create a cycle of suffering? What if you could remain in a perfect world that didn't cost anyone anything? What if you could stay here and not be blamed for it? I'm going to tell you about one of the Persona 5 DLC endings. Now, before you skip, just hang on a second. This will tell you so incredibly little about the game. I promise
Okay.
this is actually a minor spoiler. I won't
caveats.
even utter any
The
characters'
caveats.
names. No giant plot twists. You could almost file this away on the
Oh my
same
God, the
level as, like,
caveats.
an Easter egg. Trust me. There is
Wait,
a
what did he say? What did he
dialogue-
say? But also 2415 if you insist. Coward. Oh my god.
There is a
I will say, guys, I'm not one of those guys who get immediately triggered if I'm shown a spoiler, because at least me personally, right? I mean, I still enjoy a piece of media even if I'm spoiled. I do. I mean, I still appreciate the tapestry of it, despite it. I mean, I get it. There's an emotional shock and to it, but for me, the tapestry or watching how something is woven and created gives me just the same amount of entertainment. So that's why for me personally, I don't mind a spoiler as much as the next guy.
Dialogue option in the Royal DLC that, should you choose to accept, will give you an ending. And I can't really say it's the bad ending, but to call it the true ending would be a strict lie. You are given the chance to give everyone a perfect life. Instead of beating the game's final enemy, you can accept their offer and all the people most important to you heal from their traumas and insecurities. The wrongs are magically righted. You wake up in the middle of a party with all of your friends and family there. Relationships have healed, dreams have come true, everyone is laughing and smiling. The oldest of the group are graduating, others are moving to your school next semester. You take a group photo and everyone seems genuinely joyous. You've earned this. There is no more evil anymore. This is how things should be. Nothing is wrong anymore. Right? If you haven't played this game and you just happened upon these credits, you'd probably think that it's the real ending. I mean, just look at these lovely illustrations, listen to this delightful music. What a nice game this must have been. But once the pictures end, you realize that the credits have been rolling at a strange angle, almost indicating that something is off. Finally, we arrive at the end screen, where again, all smiles, but your character in particular glares at the camera with a hauntingly rehearsed expression.
How would you know
Something
that?
is
It's
wrong.
an anime look.
This small alternative ending, instead of showing you the repercussions of not letting go on a grand scale, instead indulges you. It says, sure, have it your way. This is perfection. Do you want to stay here forever? And it's fascinating to see the amount of real humans that stand by it in message boards. Hot take, this is the best ending. There's nothing wrong with this ending. This is the ending everyone deserves. And yeah, you know, like how can you not be incredibly tempted by it? It opens up a whole fascinating dialogue, and perhaps it's a wake-up call if you are stuck in your own real world endless now. You might think, yeah, but that's not real. These aren't real characters. People aren't flawless. These aren't humans. They're hollowed out approximations of them. Every scar and lesson that makes them who they are has been stripped away. We learn nothing in this timeline. And that, to me, is why this ending is so brilliant. It doesn't paint a picture of empathetic sorrow. It paints a picture of bleached perfection, so incredibly perfect that it's vexing. It makes us want to tilt it crooked on the wall, to graffiti it, to tarnish it, to make it better reflect what is real, because reality, that is where we mature, where life is really lived. As much as I want to, I can't stay here, actually. You can't keep me here.
Oh,
1000
whoa,
Times
whoa.
Resist is about
Wait. You guys have been recommending me that I play this game. Should I watch this? He's telling me, yeah, it's okay. It's fine. I should be fine. But if you guys want me to skip, you have just tell me. But for me, I'm okay. But because I do plan on playing this. I do plan on streaming this. All right.
so many things. Finding a way to fit it into a video is like trying to decide on what you want for dinner after that first paycheck of the month. There's just too many possibilities.
Because I do plan on getting
It's a
this
narrative
game.
that takes place over several
So I don't think
generations,
it's
but
too big
its
of a spoiler.
cycle
I see.
is a little murkier at first glance. As the game gets started and we move on from that cryptic stabby opening, you will play as Watcher, one of the several sisters in this perfect little garden. Everyone has their role. Everyone is happy. It is sterile. It is pure. It is creepy. Nothing is ever wrong. Everyone here lives in service to the All-Mother, the one from whom all the sisters come from. Some unseen person that, if you're good, if you do your job well, you will have the opportunity to meet. In fact, you'll join her outside of the garden in her fight against the big evil occupants, aliens that now reside on the surface and make it impossible to live without these masks. The All-Mother, however, in her infinite benevolence, again, if you are worthy, will give you immunity from the occupant's toxin, and in time, you, her, and all of the other worthy sisters will reclaim the world. That is the vision that Watcher and her best friend Fixer believe the day that Fixer is chosen to join the All-Mother. However, as the game progresses, you begin to see the loose threads in this grand tapestry. Watcher, doing her job by watching, is presented with the All-Mother's memories for the sake of preserving history. And it's in those memories that something begins to stink. The All-Mother, as it turns out, was once nothing more than a high school girl named Iris, who was somehow immune to the occupant's toxin and now can no longer age. And from the last remaining human, somehow we got here. And she kind of sucks.
See you later,
She's
Lime.
horrible to her only real friend. She wants to leave her mother and father, as many rebellious teens do. She is the origin of this whole religion, and without spoiling too much, she is a very flawed god, which Fixer actually warned you of after the first memory you explore. Mother is not all she is hyped up to be.
Iris? Kind of bad news.
And like Persona 5's false ending, you might begin to feel that desire to peel yourself away from it and accept the uncomfortable truth. This perfect structure needs to be broken. And you'll follow Watcher's journey of discovery in the far distant future as she rebels against the All-Mother. And you'll follow Iris's journey as she rebels against her mother. And you'll follow Iris's mother as she rebels against her mother. And you'll follow Iris's father as he rebels against the Hong Kong government in 2019, where during a protest he meets Iris's mother. And you'll follow Secretary as they... The central conflict in most of the games we've discussed today revolves around those in favor of the cycle, those who want to stay in the endless now where it's safe from all pain and suffering for them, and those who wish to break it, whether they benefit from that cycle or not. Most of these stories take the time to ensure that you empathize with both sides.
It's
Again,
it's okay.
What they do supremely well is not make you feel...
I mean, it's stuff I could have figured out via speculation, okay? I've read enough stories like this that I kind of figured that's where it was going.
Like a liberator, but instead, on a very personal level, help you better understand how cycles of suffering begin so that you can break them in yourself and perhaps inspire others to do the same. 1000 Times Resist teeters on this conflict as well. Some characters understand that the All-Mother's world, while built on lies and pain and sorrow, is comfortable. Others simply cannot ignore the implications of just lying down and ignoring the injustice for the sake of preserving a perfect farce. Watcher cannot ignore the suffering that this reality was built upon. Iris cannot stay complacently with her parents when the world needs her immunity to develop a cure for the occupant's toxin. Iris's mother cannot stay in a country that does not allow her to live the life she truly wants. The people of Hong Kong cannot stand idly by and allow their government to subjugate its population. This game is a gorgeous story told over thousands of years, whose cycle is actually one of repeatedly breaking cycles, of resisting 1000 times over if necessary. Mothers and daughters, people and governments, followers and religions. Never accepting to stay in an endless now, never forfeiting a future that their grandchildren will inherit, rejecting comfort in lieu of choice and growth. Despite the pain that may come with it, seeing history repeat itself in this ever-rebellious fashion boisterously echoes the point of everyone who can't accept the false Persona 5 ending. As tempting as it is to slip into this blissful fantasy, as hard as it is to say goodbye, that is the only way we truly grow.
Yeah, I mean, classic trope.
And I use the word grow by design because the final game we're talking about today takes these themes and views them through the lens of Mother Nature.
Early games, what? You simply must stay though.
Neva, as I mentioned earlier, begins with a funeral. Evil has taken one of your wolves, and you only have one left. A pup named
Neva.
And through the game, you see Neva grow. You go from protecting her and worrying about her to fighting alongside her and worrying about her. She, of course, is the thing you don't want to lose here. She is the Yuna, the Mio, the Dillion, the Mary, the damn it, if the dog dies, I don't want to play this. And as you explore this vibrant world, you find that nature is behaving in some suspicious ways. At the very start of the game, this bird doesn't just die, it's somehow preserved in haunting ashen flowers. Trees don't fall to the ground and decompose, they just hang in the air in this bizarre in-between state. Herons remain captured in a single heartbeat, wings spread but not flying, beaks open but hushed. Boars are frozen like statues mid-roar with black roses blooming on their snouts. Things don't die here, they turn into something else.
Thanks for
it's
hanging out.
beautiful, but
Let's hang out
also
more one of
somehow
these days.
profane and wrong. Sometimes corpses will attack you as these vile creatures possess them and make them dance like puppets. And you'll notice that defeating these creatures actually makes them return to the earth. Real flowers and vines sprout up over their bodies, allowing them to finally rest. And this is kind of how Neva's central conflict is presented. It's not death you're fighting against. Death is peaceful. It's this malicious force that wants to preserve things in an almost perfect fashion. Cheap imitations of life are what you often fight against. This is Neva's endless now. Evil here takes the form of a sorrowful denial. This is prettier than death, surely. This way we can always admire the herons flying, the deer running, the forest's leaves, the wolves we cherish so deeply. And again, this game ensures that you are horrified at the idea of losing Neva. There is this dream sequence where Alba, the main character, sees a wolf on the horizon, a blackened, undead, unsent wolf. And you might interpret this as Alba's fear of losing Neva, of course, but it could also be a dream where she fights off the temptation to let Neva be taken by the Black Malice, to never have to say goodbye like she did before. It's a tale that highlights the fragility of life, and that despite how excruciating it is to let go, to do anything beyond simply mourn it and move on is unnatural. A violation of nature, a profane desire that, although understandable,
I
must
love
be
this guy's
blunt
editing.
in
Look at
order
that.
To thrive, to truly live, you must wake up from the dream.
It's not that you're dreaming. You.
And this is where we get to the actual
The cryptic
spoilers.
openings that I mentioned at the start of this video all serve the same purpose, to both set up a full circle ending as well as, in some ways, contradict the game's message. Not to invalidate it, but to purposely pull you in two directions to show you that this
you know what? I want
message,
Miso soup.
while an ideal
So while it's playing,
and
I'm
while
watching.
an
I just
inspiring
boil
way to
some
live
water.
your life, doesn't make choosing it easy. If it were, you would not relate to the villain. You would not admire the hero. The cycle would not have begun. These beginnings must come full circle. And they don't patronize you by telling you that letting go is painless. They remind you specifically what it will cost. What I didn't tell you earlier about that dream Titus has is that when he realizes he's dreaming and points it out, the Faith makes a critical clarification to what he says.
It's not that you're dreaming. You are a dream.
In the final act of the game, it slowly becomes clear that when Sin is defeated, when Yu Yevon is defeated, when the Faith are all finally allowed to rest and the dream ends, that Titus himself will also end. He will disappear along with his city. Sin attacked Dream Zanarkand at the very start in order to break the cycle so that the Faith may finally rest and end the millennium of destruction, all unbeknownst to Titus, a man who never truly existed. Breaking the cycle may have saved Yuna, but tragically, it cost Tidus his place in this world. And in one of the most genuinely heartbreaking endings to a video game I will likely ever see, I'm still kind of recovering from it like 15 years later, Yuna must let him go. Tidus must smile in the face of his own demise with the knowledge that he has just secured the futures of the people he loves most. Desperately, Yuna throws herself at him to keep him from leaving, but it's too late. The cycle is broken. The dream is over. The two worlds colliding at the very beginning of Xenoblade 3 is actually the moment that the Endless Now begins. The pausing of everything around Noah signals the beginning of 1,000 years of Mobius, where the two worlds of Xenoblade 1 and Xenoblade 2 have leaked into one another. Through some JRPG shenanigans, this is how the great pause begins. And as you get closer to the end of the game, it becomes clear that rejecting Mobius and attempting to end the Endless Now in fact means that the worlds must separate again. Everyone here will return to their own worlds. And while this means no more cycle of war or 10-year lifespans, it also means that this magical crossing of the timelines will be no more. Senna and Lanz are forced to say goodbye. Taion gives Uni an herbal tea recipe to help with her anxieties. She won't wake up with it when they return to their worlds, but that doesn't matter. Noah and Mio... God damn it. And as the worlds begin to tear apart at the seams, that temptation to stay comes rushing back. They all begin running toward one another at a full sprint, but the ground beneath them, the air they breathe, the leaves and the trees all sort themselves back where they belong as the Endless Now becomes the inescapable then.
Yeah, okay.
In the final act of Neva, we have a new pup. Neva has found love, started a family, and now she, Alba, and Bruma roam this forest at the peak of springtime. It's lush, it's warm, it's tender, and it mirrors the start of the game, because after all, this is a cycle. Another bird falls, the wicked forces return, but this time, Neva and her pup prevail, finally putting that malice to rest. However, Neva is still mortally wounded. Alba wakes to a scene that is all too familiar. Neva is gone now. The malice that was plaguing the land is gone, but it cost Alba her dearest friend. But just like the start of the game, a new beginning and a new life awaits. These endings all make you hurt and cry and scream because they're real. The lesson these games want to tell cannot be told otherwise. Saying goodbye cannot be easy. It would be almost condescending to suggest that letting go is simple or clean. And it's because of this that we relate to the tyrant. It's because of this we're tempted to accept that false ending. It's because of this that presenting these feelings as a cycle is so tragically effective. When we can't move on, nothing changes. When we don't want to move on, we continually invite the same pattern of behavior, shutting down, indulging the comfort of apathy, never resisting an opportunity to wallow. The same habits swaddle us. The same thoughts visit us. Sorrow can be addicting in small doses, especially if it keeps us from getting hurt again. But it's because of these reasons we so deeply admire the heroes of these stories. We revere our friends in Xenoblade because they know what breaking the cycle means and choose to move forward in spite of what it will cost them. Our heart aches so much for Tidus because we feel the gravity of his decision as he creates a bright future instead of indulging a sweet dream. We find inspiration in all of Iris' ancestors as through the generations they continually refuse to be imprisoned by convenience and indifference. They fight for a future that they can thrive in, not a falsely perfect ending. Life may end in Neva, but it is also always a new beginning. Life sprouts up from the loam. A new generation will live and love and have tender moments of their own because we chose to move forward. We inspired them to do the same. We looked toward the horizon with tears in our eyes and invited the endless then, a then that they'll receive. These games illustrated something about myself that I feel like I understand now. They inspired me to break that cycle, and maybe they'll do the same for you. I hope you never forget that beautiful now, but never stop looking for more of them. Gaze toward that endless road ahead of you and just walk on.
Oh, what a beautiful video.
Hey there, you. Thanks so much for watching. Happy New Year.
That's nice.
It's good to be back. I've wanted to talk about JRPGs in depth for so long now, and after playing Xenoblade and seeing the parallels to Final Fantasy X, it had to happen. 10 was probably my first ever man game, if I'm being honest. 6th grade Daryl felt so many things he didn't even know he could feel back then. If you like what you saw today, leave a like, share the video, subscribe, comment what you're feeling down below, and if you love what you saw today, consider joining my Patreon page. For $1 a month, you can get access to all kinds of bonus content like bloopers, creative input, updates.
What else is there to watch? How to forget a game. Flawless sequences in flawed games. Okay, well, let's watch this one.
A few years ago, for no particular reason, I decided to go see the elementary school I attended growing up. It's abandoned now, and I remember how strange it felt to walk around the playground over 20 years later. For years, this place existed only as a memory to me, and that memory was captured as a 4'0" kid. But seeing this place as a 6'2" grown man made me realize just how much bigger and frightening the world was then. I felt like a giant walking around the pavilion where the buses once picked us up. The towering coliseum that once was the gymnasium was suddenly just any other building. The sidewalk was narrower, the door handles were lower, the swings I used to stand on, I could barely even fit 1 foot onto now. It was a bizarre feeling to find myself too big to fit in a memory. This place could never again be what existed in those nostalgic recollections. It would never, could never be quite the same. And I think that sensation is what makes this particular video game sequence so brilliant.
Wait, me and my mom lived here. This is our living room.
When you first walk into this person's childhood apartment, at first glance, it's any other lived-in apartment. Cheap wallpaper, a lackluster bathroom, some drawings and pictures hung up on the wall, a few dirty dishes left on the table, some medicine left out on the counter. After you read this journal entry, the bedroom door opens, and you make your way into the bedroom. Very PT. Now the apartment is in much worse shape. The table is littered with old takeout boxes. Now the apartment is journal entry, the bedroom door opens, and you make your way into the bedroom. Very PT. Now the apartment is in much worse shape. The table is littered with old takeout boxes and drinks that whisper terrible childhood memories to this person. Discarded beer bottles and old trash bags invade the space like little intruders. It's dark now. There are more pills on the counter. As your eyes drink in the details of this scene and read another journal entry, you realize that time has passed. Things have changed desperately in this household. The bedroom door opens, and this time it does lead you into the bedroom. And after another journal entry and noting the disarray the room is left in, you turn to leave, and then... Wait, when did... Is that door handle at eye level? And all at once you realize how low to the ground you are. It doesn't just happen suddenly, it's gradual. You try to pinpoint the moment it happened or how you missed this obvious change, but much like when you're in a dream, you can't remember when exactly this all began. You're suddenly just here in the thick of it. And it's at this moment you realize how brilliant this sequence is. It's not just that this character is revisiting a place that was significant to her, like when I visited my old school, she now fits in this memory. It's exactly as it was when she originally experienced this trauma, and now you get to feel as small and helpless as she did. The world becomes large and frightening again. In a third pass through the apartment, she now helplessly looks up at the crooked pictures of her family. The fly-infested trash bags fully tower over her. Why is that one moving? The pills and booze are now right in front of her face, a constant reminder that mommy is not okay. She's closer to the trash on the floor. Her drawings from earlier were so low you painfully realize because they were hung up there by her. And without telling you how this sequence ends for the sake of respecting spoilers, all of the foreshadowing in the details culminates as you crawl into her closet, not viewing the world as an adult, but as a terrified child. It's a subtle change that takes what could have been a representation of a memory and turns it into an uncomfortably intimate experience of one. This is a 5-minute sequence in Silent Hill: The Short Message, a game you likely bounced off of. It was very hit or miss, and having played it, the critiques are warranted.
I hope
the
I
chase
can
scenes
join
are
you
tedious,
eventually.
the dialogue is
in
a
the
bit
gold.
on the nose, the themes it tackles are important, and I do think it's a story that deserves to be told, but it certainly felt like at times it was written about a generation by another generation, which leaves it coming off as though the game is trying to be relatable without fully doing so. It's a wonderful effort, but by every definition, The Short Message is flawed. Except for this beautifully done sequence. And it's moments in games like these that I find myself recalling both fondly and regretfully because they are tucked away in games that many people completely dismiss based on a review or a passing negative comment. Maybe they even tried it but just dropped it because the experience was so rocky that they had no motivation to go and discover that
she is objectively
But having finished many an imperfect game,
in terms of healing output, like this is the amount of healing you can produce. She has objectively the highest. So if there's only one healer available, she's like the best choice for it.
I find myself giddy when I stumble upon something amazing despite everything else.
Oh my god, I love
Sometimes
so
I
much
find
now.
a flawless sequence in a flawed game. And today, I want to take you on a tour of some of these perfect moments. With as little context as possible to respect spoilers, of course. There are timestamps if you check the timeline bar down here. There are certainly more than what I mentioned here that either I don't have footage for or that I'll conveniently remember after this video goes live, but these are a handful of sequences that don't just tell you a story, they let you experience it firsthand and illustrate something incredible through the gameplay itself. Which is not unlike how today's sponsor, Brilliant, works. Learning is often extremely one-dimensional. There is a fact in a textbook, then you memorize it until you can readily recall it or apply it in an exam. But Brilliant is where you learn by doing. With thousands of interactive lessons in math, data analysis, programming, and more, Brilliant doesn't just throw concepts at you and expect you to memorize them, it opens by letting you play with that concept and begin to chew on it first, then clarifies what might not be clear. Once upon a time, I talked about something called the generation effect on this channel, and that is exactly what makes Brilliant so effective. When you play with information, you learn it. Brilliant is on the go as well, so instead of pumping a few passive moments every day into that new gacha game or doom scrolling, you can use that time. One little change in the camera height was enough to make that sequence in The Short Message as special as it was. But our next sequence is special because it makes a ton of changes back to back. It should be overwhelming, it shouldn't work, but boy, it really, really does. My favorite tutorial in gaming might just be
I wish I had a
Replicant. And this is a game that I have been publicly
mug.
hard on before. I don't like that it makes you play multiple times to get the true ending. I don't enjoy how much busy work the side quests are filled with. Many people simply don't get it. It's wildly cryptic and weird at times. It'll always be little brother to Automata. But the tutorial, in some ways, is the opening lines of a poem that perfectly sets up the themes that this game is trying to communicate. Snow falls on an abandoned city. It is hopelessly cold out, but it is also summer. You know 3 facts about this boy. 1, he despises this book. 2, he fiercely wants to protect his sister. And 3, when danger strikes, he is willing to ignore the first fact because of the second. Initially, you are told how to block and attack, but after losing a fight the game will not let you win, the boy calls upon the power of the book. And it's here that you'll find a tutorial unlike any other. You're told that you can now use Dark Hand, which is exactly what it sounds like. Now, with 3 commands at your disposal, you start fighting. Suddenly, you level up. Okay, we're off to the races. That feels nice.
Okay.
And so you fight and play with the tools you've been given, and wow, level 3 already. Now you have a Dark Blast on another button. The music shifts from a cappella as a few subtle drums enter the song. New enemy types enter as well. You're told that by holding buttons to charge your attacks, this will alter their effects, and it can be done at any point during a combo. But it should be noted that at no point does this game force you to do any of this. It just lets you know it's there. And so you continue to play, mowing down everything in front of you with the arsenal of magic the book is providing. You level up again.
No. It's Near Replicant. One of the more how do you say this? One of the quote unquote inferior titles in the series. But what we're watching right now, Den Mother, is a video from. By the way, I really recommend this channel. It's called Daryl Talks Games. Basically, a video essay YouTuber, and he comes up with a lot of things. The last video we watched was about games, about letting go. So about grief, about trying to let go of things that you loved. So he always talks about these really fascinating things about games. So in this particular video we're watching right now, it's about flawless sequences in otherwise flawed games. So he's talking about very good sequences in bad games. But yes, I do recommend him. He has a lot of really good videos.
Again and again. Dark Execution has now replaced Dark Hand. Ghostly black spears burst from the ground in every direction, skewering enemies from below, leaving
I just
them
realized I
open for
didn't
more
change the
attacks.
title of the indie one.
String and brass instruments now overpower
Okay.
the voices in the song, and it becomes a bombastic war hymn. At level 7, you're told how to evade. More enemies come, but your skill is rising to meet the challenge. Both the artificial skill in the form of levels and tools, and your actual comfort with the controls. You're starting to enjoy yourself. You're starting to experiment with the magic and see how many enemies you can kill at once. Dark Execution becomes Dark Lance, another trick to perform, and boy, it is delightful. Now you can legend these things from a distance. Again, you're not forced to use it. The game lets you realize where it's best applied. Around level 10, you're met with a large enemy that, once defeated, will flood you with experience, skyrocketing your level to 30. This opening act spoils you with sweet nothings in video game language to let you know how wonderfully you're doing and how magnificent this should feel. It's an early power trip, a tutorial and a preview of the kind of strength you can expect to have once the game really unfolds. These weapons simply let you choose to feel powerful, almost too powerful, almost cruel. But because of the blood-pumping soundtrack, the juicy offensive abilities, and the very clear video game reinforcement, you forget about that cruelty. When the enemies finally stop coming, you sort of remember, oh yeah, this is about protecting your sister. If you've played this game, you know how marvelous a job this tutorial does at laying the foundation of this game's meaning. This opening act, through the medium of a video game, perfectly illustrates the tragedy of Near Replicant, the joy of taking revenge while being haunted by the implications of finding thrill in such malice. The distaste for evil while also admitting that for the ones you love, you'd embrace it. Near Replicant is a flawed game, unquestionably, but this first act might just be the perfect way to start it. Cloaking yourself
He's
in
very good at
cruelty
selling
feels
games, I'll
harrowing
say.
in Near Replicant. That is, of course, the point of the narrative, to draw attention to what video games and what sometimes the real world necessitates. But another game that tackles this theme much differently is Ghost of Tsushima.
Wait,
and of course,
Ghost of Tsushima's
Ghost is not the
flawed?
best open world game you'll ever play. It's gorgeous, but you might find it tedious and repetitive. You might find it style over substance. You might see it as just another AAA game, and you'd have every right to feel that way. It
Okay.
too is a flawed game. And while it does draw parallels with Replicant's message, through its gameplay, it communicates something else entirely. Instead of illustrating how good cruelty may feel and then making you feel bad about it later, it instead makes that cruelty feel cathartic and justified. Jin's uncle tells him early on that winning is inhuman unless it is done honorably. You look a man in the eye when you kill him, but it's clear that this way is not going to win them this war. At this rate, Jin's homeland will not survive the Mongol invasion. And this is echoed in the gameplay itself. Playing honorably in many situations is suicide because of how desperately outnumbered you are. If you can pick off a camp one man at a time without being noticed, you're going to have much smoother sailing than if you approach the front gate and challenge the Mongols head on. And so the game creates this beautiful conflict that you actually experience firsthand when you play, not just when you watch cutscenes. There is honor, but that's just an ideal. War is not ideal. Realistically, there is this urge to defy your uncle and play dirty with the Mongols because in many ways it feels justified. The game rides this tension through the narrative until you must defend Yarikawa. And it's here that Ghost of Tsushima offers you what might be a flawless sequence. During the Mongols' siege of Yarikawa, you and some townsfolk will fight off the invaders. And it plays like any other sequence in the game. There is combat, you run over to an objective marker, there is a section that offers you some stealth kills, and you finally make your way back to a confrontation with a Mongol general. All very routine, you win the sword fight, but something is different this time. A handful of Mongols watch as their general is clearly beaten. They slowly approach, and seeing this, being the honorable man that he is, Jin begins to reason with the men, offering them mercy and to spare their general if they will simply leave this.
Okay.
Oh, fuck.
Okay.
Yeah, there was no negotiation.
Invaders! Look at your general! Run! This will be your fate! People of Yarikawa, hunt every Mongol to the last man! Spare no one! For Yarikawa! Yarikawa!
There's really not much for me to narrate here, is there? I kind of edited it out there for dramatic effect, but this is where you unlock Ghost Stance, which is essentially a bloody Mario superstar that lets you mercilessly slaughter for a few seconds, striking fear into the hearts of the men watching. It is a triumphant moment, maybe not full sequence, I admit, that the game spends marinating with the last remaining thread of honor Jin has been holding on to that you've been quietly screaming for him to release. And in a moment of calm rage, he does. Top all this off with this scene immediately after running off the Mongols, and this was such a powerful, cathartic, electrifying, and maybe even flawless sequence. When you are told a story, how is it done? Someone describes a lovely evening to you. Maybe they show you a picture of that night and you fill in the blanks with your imagination. Maybe the details are relayed to you in a novel and you construct that mental image in your mind as you read. Maybe you drink it all in at 60 frames per second in 4K with crystal clear audio. Maybe it's in a theater. Maybe it's on a stage. In some ways, it kind of feels like we've seen it all, right? How else could a story be told? There is a sequence in 1000 Times Resist that, the best way I can put it is, it tells a story in a way I've never really seen before. And I don't mean the game's story, by the way. This sequence will actually spoil very little, if any, of the actual plot. It's not what happens in this tiny segment of the game that matters as much as how it's communicated that I'm enamored with. So don't fret spoilers too much here. Though you should totally play this. I'm going to talk about it way more next year. You arrive at an underground station and are greeted by a field of cadavers. It feels like a crime scene, and upon seeing this, questions begin to flourish like weeds in your mind. Why are there only 2 guns? Why is this spattering of blood older and separate from the one on the wall? Why is this body so far from the others? What exactly happened here? And in many games, these questions would be answered by conventional means. You'd find a text log or a cryptic audio file outlining the tragedy that took place. You'd activate a hologram that showed you how everything came into its final resting place. Most likely, you'd see a flashback cutscene that offered up some clarity. But 1000 Times Resist instead offers you the chance to view the events that happened here as slides overlaying reality. A book where each page is a single moment in this physical space. You walk around this station piecing together motivations and feelings and personalities and hopes, but because these folks you're studying aren't yet at their final resting place, it feels like you're watching these events re-ravel back to reality, almost like a tape measure pausing as it coils back together. Seeing these moments in the space they took place gives it a strangely personal feeling. You don't smash cut to a new scene, you have to physically walk to where it took place. Folks move and have conversations in secret. The architecture of the station is every bit as much a character as the folks.
Oh, this is a separate video.
It adds a certain level of real
one.
suspense and
this is a different video.
When you snap to a new page and find someone running and another one slouched, defeated against the wall. More questions.
This is a video about
something has gone terribly wrong.
This is a video about flawless sequences in flawed games. He's talking about specific sequences that are brilliant, even if the game is not necessarily so. Long.
These people did in this moment, you must witness the horror unfolding in the same place they did.
He was talking about
take cues from their body language and act as they would have until you finally hear why. Helplessly, you see panic rise and watch how these lost souls react. There is more running for some reason. What's going on now?
I enjoy things for the sequences.
No matter how much you try, no matter how much faster you are than every other suspended ghost in the room rushing to help, no matter how tethered to the space you feel as they did, this has already happened. You know how it ends.
Realize that he sounds like Jacob Geller.
Much of 1000 Times Resist is structured
like
this.
Really?
You explore moments in time to learn more about the people involved. But this is the one I chose to talk about because, to me, it made the best use of the space as part of those memories. The desperation and helplessness I felt here is so unique compared to what any regular flashback would have achieved.
I prefer watching on Twitch.
It had to be this one.
Yeah.
Despite how dark...
Honestly, Denmark, that's why I have that sign saying I'm live on Twitch on my vertical. Because the whole point is to encourage people to switch over to Twitch. It's just that, it's a way for us to gain followers. I actually, if I wanted to, I would have also opened up TikTok. But I felt too lazy. You'll still what? No, I do. Okay, maybe it's because I used to be a critic for a newspaper, but like I said, I don't mind at all spoilers because I still enjoy something. Even if I know, for example, if I know this particular sequence in a movie happens, I still love it because then at that point I can now focus on things like the acting, the writing, or the cinematography, that kind of thing. So. Personally, me, I never understood, although I respect it, don't get me wrong, I never understood people who get really mad from spoilers. Because in my opinion, I still enjoy it personally. It's not a big deal. Sure, I don't get the dopamine rush, right, that some people go, but it's just... Okay. Hot take, and I don't mind if people get mad at me. It's your opinion, it's my opinion, whatever. But here's the thing, right? The thing that spoiler triggers want to preserve is that dopamine chemical rush. But that's what it is. That's all it is. It's just an emotional chemical rush. At the end of the day, you still can enjoy. It's like, can you imagine how that would be like, for example, in a restaurant? That feeling of eating a particular dish for the first time. It's amazing, right? But guess what happens? You still go back to that same restaurant and order the same dish, and you still enjoy it. I kind of wish people would be like that when it comes to movies and games as well. Yes, spoilers matter, and that's one of the reasons why I don't spoil it as much as possible. But for me, it doesn't stop me from going to the same quote unquote going to the same restaurant and ordering the same thing again. You know what I mean? It's okay. Let me put it this way. Let me rephrase. Is a spoiler-free experience great? Yes. What I don't agree with is the concept of quote-unquote ruining something. Spoilers ruining things. Spoilers do not ruin something, okay? It's still the same piece of media, okay? You're right. Said about time during Star Wars 8 came out and an ex-friend said it's spoilers saying the movie is good. Yeah, I mean, right? It's like, no, it doesn't ruin it because it's still the exact same movie. All right? It's still the same movie. Right? You can still appreciate it. Okay.
Dark and terrible these events are, to me, the way it was done is flawless. And I know this is the part where I'm supposed to tell you that this game is flawed, and maybe it is. It's a visual novel with more steps. That's the best I can do. I'm kind of cheating with this one. Please play this. To wrap this video up, I want to end on a less depressing example. I want to tell you about the sequence that I often refer to as the coolest level in a game I've ever played.
Okay.
I kind of didn't care for Control when I played it back in 2020. This was well before I ever touched Alan Wake, and I just really didn't get it. The world you explore doesn't fold back into itself in interesting ways like a Metroidvania map or a Zelda dungeon typically would. You just kind of go to new locations and then come back. Combat is hit or miss. Flying around should be fun, but it gets in the way just as often as it adds to the experience. The story was beyond me, and for some reason this one area always spit me back out when I tried to enter. But after getting this cassette player from the janitor and popping it on as I entered, the ashtray maze opened up. Hallways began to rebuild themselves in the right direction. Designer shoes sat before every door. Stained wood columns and boards clipped in and out of reality to reveal a fully furnished foyer.
Yeah,
Enemies stood down the way. Endless columns.
I'd even go as far as saying, right, that if your enjoyment of a film, TV, or video game relies so much on it being the first time, right, and you can't enjoy it anymore, I would argue that's not even a good game or a good movie, because without it, you're telling me the thing is flawed, right? Again, I'm not disputing that as a twist, right, makes a moment amazing. I'm saying that we tend to overrate just that feeling. That's my thing. Saying it is good without saying another thing is spoiler now, it affects how you see the movie. Yeah, that's my point of it is, right, that okay, I get that it's better that you're not spoiled, right? I get that. But if you're saying it's ruined because of the spoiler, I would argue that it's not a good piece of medium if that's the case. Right? Because it has to be able to stand on its own despite external efforts, right? You can't control how the externality happens. Okay, sorry. Since we're in that conversation, okay, let me rant about something, okay? You know what I really don't like? When people put rules on things like, oh, you're not supposed to be able to spoil. Like, they say stuff like, when's a good time to talk about something in social media? Oh, you're only allowed to talk about movies 1 year after the movie came out. I remember somebody posted something like about those, like, oh, a movie's supposed to be about a few weeks later, a book a year later, and even when it comes to Broadway plays, 50 years later. Like, okay, I get what you're trying to say, really, I get what you're trying to say, but bear in mind one thing about social media. Joining social media means you're voluntarily, and the operative word is voluntarily, joining a public space, a town hall, so to speak, a public park. And you can't control people in a public space. When you're sitting in a park, you will be you might overhear people talking about something. That's not their fault. That's your fault for joining or willingly going to a space where people talk freely. So you should not get mad about being spoiled in social media because you willingly joined that public space. Okay? Now, again, I'm not saying those people aren't assholes for doing that. Yes, it's rude. It's tacky to do that. But my God, you joined the public space. You knew the rules. And so do I. You know the rules of Twitter. You know the rules of Facebook. You know the rules of Instagram. You know the rules. Okay? You know the rules. You know the rules. Okay? You joined that space. You willingly participated in it. And therefore, it's on you that you were spoiled. Sorry, but that's the case. It's on you that you were spoiled because you chose to join a public space. Okay? Again, I'm not saying that you should have a free pass to spoil. I'm not saying that. I do agree that it's rude, that it's part of being polite not to spoil people. I don't spoil people for that very reason.
Looks like someone's mad. Go cry about it, bitch.
Thanks for that, Artsy. Thanks for that. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay, but yes. Okay. Come on. Right? Let's just calm thine tits, so to speak. Anyway, let's go back to this brilliant video essay.
Of doors scrawled up the walls, and that furniture quickly became ammunition. And with each new room, this song moved
I should
into
really
a
play
new
Control,
section.
right?
It went from the introductory instrumentals right into the first verse as I entered this lobby. And I slowly realized as I fight that the
For me, the
lyrics
voice
are
registrations.
exactly
I know,
about
right?
the plot.
Yeah, sorry, I remember one time a friend of mine, I got into a mild argument with a friend of mine, then mother. Like, when he was saying, when I said, I basically posted on Facebook back then when Facebook was a thing, right? Was a study from some university in the US, which shows that, contrary to popular belief, spoilers don't actually ruin experiences. And this guy cut back at me and said, I questioned this report because I know how I feel, when I watch something. And then I remember thinking, dude, that's anecdotal. This is literally a report. You're like, anyway, whatever.
Once that room was cleared, seamlessly the song slips into an early bridge as this wall drops. Something is changing here. For a few moments, I wander through this area as the walls shuffle themselves around me, constantly showing me the path forward as this haunting melody lulls me through this dreamlike puzzle box of carpet and wallpaper. And as the bridge comes to a close, I see some enemies, but the maze doesn't spring them on me. It just reveals them, then morphs to provide me with a better place to attack from. The music is somehow speaking to it. And as I move into a new room with more enemies, the song kicks up and leads back into the chorus to better complement the combat. I've never seen a level in a video game dance with the music quite as harmoniously as it does here.
Yeah, actually, I
Upholstery
agree
goes
with
flying,
that.
feathers and smoke, and
That's one thing I wish more game designers take into account, that the music does have a huge impact in how a level or a game is experienced.
ethereal energy
Right?
paints the air
Like,
as
I'm
the
not just talking
guitar-
about the right music choice. I'm talking about at the right moment, playing at the right moment, the correct volume, the correct cadence, the correct moment. You know, I mean, these things matter. in making you feel things.
Riffs and the vocals slice into my soul like my attacks slice into the corrupted soldiers. It's fucking incredible. After this room is cleared, I slip into this hallway as the song eases into another bridge. There's an enemy, but the maze protects me. More enemies, but again, the maze transforms to match the serenity of the song and keep Jesse safe.
Okay.
It missed one, but... And as I enter this final column to the exit, the song wraps up one last time for one last chorus.
This is the boss fight. Okay. Right?
I finish off these final enemies, ascend to the exit, and as I walk out of the maze, I notice that the song has changed.
That was awesome.
What?
This was honestly the sequence that saved the game for me. I remember being so love-struck with how insane it was that Remedy would have an entire power ballad written and produced for one level this late in the game that many players wouldn't even get to. It was so silly and cheesy, yet so seamless and so masterfully done that it was the kind of excitement that you just have to tell someone about, you know?
Okay.
Do you know how long I've been waiting to talk about it in a video? This is the part where I tell you that I really wrote this whole thing just so I could talk about the Ashtray Maze. I've never played a level that felt more alive, and damn it, it is flawless. And I think that's what makes all of these segments so special, that they, in a way, make the game you are playing feel alive. They weave the gameplay and the narrative together so masterfully that you are reminded why video games are so unique as a medium. And it's because moments like these do hide inside games that might otherwise just be fine, and it's because of sequences of this magnitude of elegance have to somehow weather the storm of reviews and negative opinions and dismissive attitudes that I felt like this video needed to get made. It wasn't just to celebrate these.
You know how you know a video is good? It's actually inspiring me to make YouTube videos of this kind. So far, my YouTube channel is mostly just highlights, but I really have been thinking for a while on how to create, more lasting content, and it's actually something Artsy and I have spoken about. So wait up, look for that in a couple of months or so. But I also have some other ideas I really want to push, like, I guess video essays is the best way to look at it. But
moments. It was to remind you that they exist and they deserve to be discovered. There is value in a flawed game, just like there is value in flawed people. All you really have to do is give them a chance. Hey there, y'all. Thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate you letting me make kind of an easier video this month since I had a little less time to work with
that was
due to
an
the
easier
holidays.
video?
I have some much deeper dives and emotional roller coasters coming next year, so buckle up. It's gonna be a hell of a year. Let me know a sequence in the game you consider flawless down below. Like, share, subscribe, and if you want to support the show as well as get access to a pile of monthly bonus content, for $1 a month you can join my Patreon. A special thanks to this month's featured patrons. I Like Shiny, Taka SDF33, Never Lupus, For Bridal, Kenko, Bonbow Boy, Katarina, and Ben Rule. Thanks so much for 6 amazing years of doing this. You all make all the hard work well worth it. From my family to yours, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays.
Like what? Okay, I just came up with a. You know what? I just fucking brainstormed something. I need to write this down on a sticky note. This video essay just got me to start thinking of something. Wait, hold on. Where's my sticky note? Where's my sticky note? I need to add this in. Okay. Okay. Content ideas. Links. Storytelling. Okay. All right.
Holidays, and please have yourself a
Okay. All right. I think we should play a game now. We've been streaming. Oh wow, almost 3 hours of not playing a game. All right. All right. Let's switch over. Let's switch over. We are going to go to play a game now. I don't know yet what we're gonna play, but we're gonna play something. Okay. All right. Remove my Elgato camera. There we go. Okay. Let's go play something. What should I play? Is there anything right now that I've installed? Uh, well, not li uh, okay, okay. Let's open the Xbox Game Pass. Maybe we'll get. Oh yeah, that's right. There's a bunch of games on the Xbox Game Pass I have yet to actually try out. So let's go play those. If not, Marvel Rivals. Depends on my mood, right? Like I don't know if you can still count NetEase update available. Okay, sorry. Xbox Game Pass is asking to update. So let's update that first. Hey, how's everyone? Yeah, we can play a little to the left. We haven't played. I want to try this one. Recently added to Game Pass. So while the update's installing, um, let's see. Um, oh yeah, my discovery queue. Yes, yes, that's none holy. I know, I know, I know. Shut up, guys. Right. Wait, hold on. Let's get yeah. All right. I need that button because like I said, my adult games filter is on while I check my discovery queue. uh oh. Oh, mixed reviews. Yeah, I was gonna look at this, which is like a roguelike version of Orcs Must Die, but apparently okay, yeah, the reviews are wait, why is the reviews mixed? But anyway, I'll double check. Eternal Strategy. Oh, this is just what we were looking at earlier. Oh, it just came out. Yeah, let's add that to the wish list. We just watched it earlier. Tales of Iron 2. Very positive. Launch
Hello.
trailer. Hey Artsy, what's up?
Just chilling. Oh, let me turn my phone down because now I'm in here.
Yeah, I can hear myself as you hear me.
Sorry. Sorry. Well, it's dead now.
Okay, hold on. I think it's having a hard time playing because I'm also updating.
I'm just playing web fishing.
What?
I'm just playing web fishing.
Why is your volume so low?
I have. Does this fix it?
Yeah, a little bit. Okay, let's watch the video a little bit first. This is Tales of Iron 2. I have the first Tales of Iron, but I bought it, but I've never played it. Maybe I should. Kind of thing. It's fun to play. Yeah, I'm never playing on weekends anymore.
Why?
Sorry. No. Don't you mean the other way? You said you mean weekdays, not weekends. So I was right, Akane. I was right. I had a theory to play Marvel Rivals only during the weekdays because not on the weekends because all the kids are home.
Big brain.
Yeah. So, yeah, exactly. See, I was right, Akane. I was right. Wait, what? Okay, let's just move on. Exogate. Build and manage mankind's first mission across the universe. What's this? Yeah, why is it low? Okay, well, there's something wrong with Steam now.
Oh no! What is Steam doing this time?
It's having a hard time loading videos. Well, anyway, Exogate. Ah, okay, I see. No. No. Oh yeah, there's a Steam sale. Yeah, the Chinese New Year one, right? But it's mostly, I think the sale is for Chinese developed games, if I'm not mistaken, Galmoth.
Oh, really?
The
Interesting.
Mute House. What is this? Survival horror. So for Roadcraft. Mostly negative. The Quinfall. There's a developer and TCG publisher sale too. Oh, I see. Okay. The Haunting of Joni Elvers? Yeah, what's wrong with what's wrong with it right now? It's like not stalling properly. Devolver. Get the fuck out. Oh, Ace Attorney collections for sale. Oh, just 25%. Yeah, maybe when I get money. Right now, I'm trying to save money. Okay, maybe like mid-February kind of thing. Yeah, there's something wrong with Steam right now. I'm having a hard time loading Dragon Claws.
Oh no.
It's fine. It's fine. Just look for Blasphemous and. Well, I already have Blasphemous. I don't know. Hotline Miami is not something I'm particularly fond of. Kind of thing. They should have a publisher sale banner at the top of the pages. Fair enough. Fair enough. Blasphemous. Team 7. Yeah, it's the same. Lunar New Year sale. Ah, I see. Team 17, Hell Let Loose, Amber Isle, Overcooked, Trepang, Moving Out, Sworn, Thymesia. Ooh, 60% for Thymesia. Depends on how much I want to have a Soulsborne game. Rogue Heroes, Narita Boy. My God, they're really trying to sell this game. Because I always see this at 80% or 90% sale. What is this? Like, what is it with this game that they keep putting it on sale? Oh, I heard about this. Date Everything. It's a dating simulator where it's your appliances in your apartment. So your refrigerator becomes a person.
What?
Yeah. It's called Date Everything. I heard about this game.
That's bizarre.
Like, yeah, your vacuum cleaner and everything, yeah, turns into hot people. Okay, something's wrong with Steam that today, so I'll use YouTube. YouTube. This is a really bizarre. I'm actually seriously considering it because of it.
Oh my God.
Well, I have Chinese. I've been streaming Chinese dating games. By the way, we will be
You're
doing
not
that
breaking
soon.
the cycle.
Yeah, I'm not breaking the cycle. No.
Product not yet ready.
It's a crazy, crazy game. But no matter what you do to make your dreams come true, the choice is up to you.
Oh, you're a girl. Okay. Oh my God. That's the back. The piano. Okay. See?
Oh my God. So free.
Yeah. Like, everything in your house becomes dateable.
What about the door?
This is my scooter. Il ragazzo
You're the
pazzo.
scooter.
You know the gentleman goes around cleaning the house with his vacuum hose.
Name's Hoover. The friends just call me Hoove, though.
The Hoover is called.
We both know you're cheating on me, so it's only fair.
Oh my
Wish
God,
I
the
was
waste
cheating on
basket. There's so many to date. Okay.
What about your phone? Can you date your phone?
But no matter how you
The toilet? Okay.
That toilet seems dirty.
Cause everything leads to love.
Oh my god. Okay.
Are you getting this game?
I am now.
What the fuck?
Uh,
We need the absolute
look at this comment. The protagonist is literally seeing the world with rose-tinted glasses.
Oh my god, no.
The prof. Okay. You know what? Release date Feb 15. Oh, let's put that to the wish list.
Oh my god.
Yeah, because I am getting some of my investments maturing by Feb 16. So tamang tama.
Oh my god.
Yeah, we're gonna date everything
Oh my god.
to fill the darkness in my heart. Okay. What else? I don't know if that's the case, Galvas. I wouldn't be surprised if it is the lady in the toilet. Nope, you didn't see this part. The other. Werewolf Purgatory. What is this? Okay. Exogate. Ender Magnolia, Bloom in the Mist. Top sellers. Of course, Counter-Strike is a top seller. Of course, Call of Duty is a top seller. Did release Naraka Blade Point is so popular. What is this game? Why is it called Turbo Balls? Oh, nope. What is this? Is this the end of the sun? Okay, maybe not. Maybe not. I don't know if that's an adult game. Because again, I have my filter on. Red Dead Redemption. Oh, 720 pesos only? 80% discount. Wow. Okay. But nah, I feel like I missed the boat on Red Dead Redemption. I don't feel like, going back to it. Dark Souls Remastered. 50% off. Huh. Trending free. Escape from Duckov? What the hell is this?
Escape from Tarkov, but duck.
Yeah, apparently.
Duck.
Amatsuki Mahjong? Okay.
Why?
Why is there an anime girl playing Mahjong?
I have no clue.
It's mixed though. It's early access. What is it? Is it the gacha game?
Gacha game? Is it
The
a
auto
gacha
actions
game?
are. Yeah, apparently it's a Mahjong gacha game thingy.
Interesting combination.
Why is Fuwamoko here?
Who's Fuwamoko?
Oh no, is it Fuwamoko? Like
The twin VTubers?
yeah. Is that her?
I have no clue. I can't see very well. Let me.
No.
I'm watching from my phone, so the screen's like small.
No, I don't know. Oh well, anyway. Let's just okay. I think we can play a game now. Uh okay. All right, let's see. What are we playing? We are going to be playing A Little to the Left.
Oh, the puzzle game?
I think so. I don't know if that's what I want. Or do I want to play Marvel Rivals?
Oh no, not the Marble Rivals.
What? What's wrong with Marvel Rivals?
Marble Rival.
What? What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? um.
Nothing.
Okay. Why nothing?
Did it?
Okay. Okay. All right. Uh. Fine. Fine. We're gonna be all because I'm being judged by Artsy. We're gonna be a little to the left. Yeah, we're not gonna play Marvel Rivals because apparently she's too good for it. All right. If that's the case, I'll end the YouTube multi-stream because yeah, I doesn't do well with Marvel Rivals. So YouTube, I'll see you guys later. We're for the cooking stream. We're gonna make spaghetti bolognese again with a little bit. Yeah, I'm gonna make some tweaks. I know I did that before, but I did buy some ingredients because I do want to make some tweaks to it, kind of thing.